All right, welcome in the Saturday edition of the NBA Deeper Dive here on Awesemo. I'm Eytan. Rinpack is in the house. The GOAT's in the house. Club Rinpack is in the house. Jordan is producing. We have you for the next 2 hours. Not the three of us, at least Awesemo does, as we have live before lock this 3-game slate. But let me remind the world before Rinpack does, before he gets into it. This is a 4-game slate tonight. I don't know if you knew that. Now, I'm not talking about the game that's about to tip off this Bucks game right now, Rinpack, but you are well aware this is a 4-game slate because we have 3 NBA games and another game that would be cruel and unusual punishment if we ignored Michigan with you on any show.
Yeah, a big Michigan game. The Michigan team is kind of a tale of two stories. They look like a team in the first half against Colorado State that doesn't even belong in the tournament. Second half, they look like they can beat any team in the tournament. The tournament's already off to a wild start. Give me another upset today. I'd love Michigan to take down Tennessee. Tennessee is one of the hottest teams in the country, but give me some Southside Juwan to take on Tennessee tonight. So I'm excited to see what Tennessee brings to the table. But this Michigan team's been up and down all season long. I would love a dub and into the Sweet 16. So kind of an emotional free roll.
All right, well, we have to get this out of the way before we look at this 3-game slate and really how you're approaching everything. And we understand that this is a busy college basketball weekend. So first and foremost, we appreciate you all just being here. We don't ask much, right? Hit the thumbs up button and make sure you're subscribed here, the Odd Shopper channel as well. Good to see the news god in the house here. But I have to ask you, and it's a 2-part question. Do you have Michigan moving on in your bracket? And do you have any monetary wager that we should be aware of on Michigan?
So I barely bet on Michigan, just kind of playing DFS more competitively over the years. I grew up a big diehard Detroit sports fan pretty much throughout high school and early parts of college. I've kind of let go of my personal fandom with the Pistons, Tigers, and Red Wings. It's hard to root for a team when you absolutely suck, but I just emotional investments do get tied to Michigan here and there. I do have them moving on in some brackets where the seeding system goes round multiplied by seed, but in a straight up bracket, I did not. I do have them losing to this really good Tennessee team. Tennessee seems like a pretty darn tough team where I wouldn't shock me if Tennessee goes all the way to the Final Four now.
Look, they're getting 7 right now, plus 235. Well, we'll come back to this, see if this thing moves at all. And look, UNC already, I know a lot of people were on that. So UNC already took down a big team here, Michigan. You know, Rick Barnes, 2018. Do we all forget so soon? The man lost to an 11 seed, Loyola. Remember?
Yeah, that did happen, and that was huge for Michigan as Michigan took on an 11 seed Loyola in the Final Four. You never know. I mean, Michigan's one of the more talented teams in the country. They just have not been able to put it together. Lots of chemistry issues throughout the season, and then obviously some on-court distractions towards the end. I would love to see Hunter Dickinson just dominate. If Hunter Dickinson stays another 2 years, he's going to be like Tyler Hansborough, that white center that everyone ends up hating by year 4. Hunter Dickinson has it all written over him. So we'll see what ends up happening with this Michigan team, but I would love a win. I would love a win for them to be in the Sweet 16. That'd be a ton of fun to see them.
I love how you go Hansbrough because you could have gone to like 6 Duke guys too. Like they all fit that. Yeah. All right, my friend. So we'll thread and weave, and I see a couple of people on both sides here with Tennessee. Jake's got Tennessee losing to Duke in the finals, but it would not be a bad loss by any means if Michigan went out to this tough Vol squad, as we mentioned. Just something about Rick Barnes. I don't know, against the spread maybe, but 3 games in the NBA at the very least tonight. And I've done my homework, so I've got a bunch of 3-point props we'll look at. We'll also look at just how your mind works from a betting standpoint, because I know you've got angles that you're looking from both building lineups and also just anything you can wager on Rinpack. But 3 games, how do you look at something like that? 3, 4, 5 is probably that limit, right? On a smaller slate. 1 is the showdown, so we know that's always going to be unique. 2 games is, again, it's kind of like the $2 bill, right? Like it's a unique situation, especially if you have a really good game and a really shitty game. But when you add a 3rd game, and even that 3rd game tonight, Detroit, Cleveland, nothing special, how does the strategy just overall change for you?
So, yeah, when you're a consolidated group of games, your ownership's going to be concentrated more heavily on the quote-unquote good plays. You're going to get much more high or owned ownership on some concentrated players. You're going to see that across the board here. You really do get rewarded on these shorter slates to jump the field by taking some risks on lower projected guys based on versus a higher projected owned player. So you'll be able to jump ownership by taking obviously some sacrificing median projection versus their ownership projection, where you can jump them. And that's how you get rewarded in chipping away at ownership and landing in that 0.01% of smaller slates. So this being a 3-game slate, there's a handful of studs, and like guys like Luka and LeBron James, and then some mid-tier guys in LaMelo Ball, Kuzma, and Garland. And then the next tier, how you mix and match those type of higher owned guys versus the lower owned guys in your lineup is how you land at the top. And there's going to be some fluky outcomes, and being on those fluky outcomes can go a long way. And your lineup can be very chalky, but if you have that one guy who's sub 5% owned, surrounded by chalk, your lineup still can do really well. It can still land in the top 5 of a tournament. It's just a lot of things have to align with you. And in a situation like this, you're going to see ownership concentrated at some studs, and making a certain stance on some studs will go a long way, and some lower owned value as well that we'll touch on, where I potentially might not be interested in, and I'd be willing to go elsewhere.
So do you find yourself, and again, I guess if you're building bigger lineups, because we do have a couple, and we can start with ownership and all talking about it, especially when we look at our first game here on the slate with Dallas at Charlotte. But 3 games, right? It's a little easier when you've got 9, 10, 12 games on a slate to build a bunch 150 and fade Luka on a couple and just say, all right, but when you have 3 games and you are building a bunch of lineups, do you find yourself getting to him over what we even have projected for the field right now, which is free out there? So if you want to use our ownership projections, you don't want to wait, and it's free today, but he's right there at the top, just under 50%, 49.5 or so. So do you find yourself just maybe even overweight to that because we only have 3 games tonight?
Yeah, it can go a long way when you nail the highest scoring player on the slate in your lineup, and he could be the highest scoring player on the slate by 20 points. He has that upside within him. There's a key news situation with LeBron James on a back end of a back-to-back. LeBron James is 20 points away from Karl Malone's second place scoring, all-time scoring leader. His next game is in Cleveland. So there's a weird narrative that I might be interested in, where LeBron James might not play today, and he's going to try to do this in Cleveland. I'm crafting a narrative up in the air.
Wow, I love it.
Or LeBron James sticks around 19 points and he's like, I just want to break it in Cleveland. I could be completely wrong. I'm just drawing this up in terms of just trying to find a way what I'm going to do with LeBron James on a back end of a back-to-back already being questionable. So if LeBron is out, I think that's going to force my hand to be be above the field on a guy like Luka. In a great spot against Charlotte. Luka also on a back end of a back-to-back, but Charlotte is just like, I've made this, it's kind of like the Coors Field environment for basketball throughout the season. The opposing team just gets to run, plays at a much up tempo, much more fantasy friendly for the opposition. It's going to pull my eye to Luka, but don't get me wrong. If LeBron James is good to go, he's been great. And he did drop 50 real life points against this Washington team about 8 days ago on that Friday night. So I'll keep an eye with LeBron. Questionable, interesting narrative being also put on the table.
Now, I saw the super chat here from Jacob throwing this out there for turning you on. Do you want to handle that one? Is that something that I should, that we all should know? Is that something that I don't know. I didn't want to just
I need Jacob to clarify a little bit. I'm
okay.
I'm a little call, but I would say thank you for the super chat.
I definitely thank you for the super chat. Absolutely. And
I'm a little
look. I don't want to.
Oh, shout out to Jake D. Yeah, he spelled it wrong. So shout out to Jake D. He's one of our lead product guys at the company. Amazing graphic design guy. Jake D. And I got caught up late night. Had some dessert at this local bar here. It's called a Pizookie. So it's like a cookie pie. But it's a cookie, but it's a pie and a Pizookie, and he spelled it wrong. It's Pizookie, and that's why I got confused.
Oh, so it's a pizza cookie, and that's what's combined.
It is diabetic galore. Yeah. It is really good.
Yeah. Now this is not like one of those, and no knock on any pizza chain, but that's not like one of those cookie things that you get delivered to you, where it's essentially just like extra batter spread out and microwaved.
No, I think it's like special legit to this restaurant chain. It's called BJ's. I'm sure you've heard of it, but yeah, it is phenomenal. It is really, really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see Jordan preparing himself in his way and then going out there and eating 2 of those Pazookies. Can I get one of those? I'll trade you a cheesesteak for a Pazookie. Can we do that?
Jordan, you got to come on, produce your camp. Come on.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I thought you had access to these too. It's only out west. I'm sorry, Rinpack.
Oh, no. This is in Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Here we go. Sorry. All right. With all of that, where were we with Luka? Let's just getting into that there with Doncic. So he's at 49.5%. Just looking at yourself and how much you plan to get to. Brunson also, by the way, is 30%. So we have a couple of these guys that are popping up pretty high. And as expected, ownership on a 3-game slate is not necessarily going to be the end all be all, but it is interesting to see where the field is and how much you're either rolling with that versus finding a way to counter it. So if you look at the top or the most popular guys that we have and seeing how you are to the field, Rinpack, we've got Luka, as we mentioned, right there at the top. You also have Jalen Brunson sliding in there about 30%. And then, Kleber pops up at just about 21%. And then, you kind of have to go down a little bit, back down to the Josh Greens of the world.
Yeah. So this Dallas team is very interesting to me just because of the matchup. There are multiple ways these guys can pay off here. We already know Dinwiddie is going to be out. So there's going to be shorthanded of one rotational guy who's been playing 30 plus minutes his last 4 times out and also been playing very, very good winning basketball for this Dallas team of late. It's been interesting to see what that happens. My immediate beneficiary is going to be Jalen Brunson. I think Brunson gets a nice usage bump. I don't expect 10 or 14. Probably got caught up in the hometown. We got some friends and family. I know he played at Villanova. So Brunson taking on the Charlotte team, 6,300 on DraftKings. I'll have some interest in him for sure. Favorable price tag. The upside's definitely there. For a long period of time, he was in the 7K range. Oh, when there was no Dinwiddie comes into the fold, things definitely change. Other guys on this team, Dorian Finney-Smith is always kind of up and down. 5,500 seems a little too expensive for my liking. I don't mind taking a flyer on Maxi Kleber, 3,900. This guy he's all over the map usually. He can put up 5 fantasy points or 25 fantasy points, and there seems to be no in between. You just look at his game log box. He's not put up, it's gone from sub 10 to over 20. It just goes back and forth. And his minutes are also like that as well. So super volatile play. If I were to build one lineup, I don't think Kleber falls in there. Josh Green's another interesting guy who might get some extra minutes. Also, there's no Reggie Bullock today. So Josh Green might play additional minutes in the higher 20s. He's a guy who I'd be willing to take some chances on. And weirdly, how this rotation might play out, I don't mind taking a tournament flyer on Davis Bertans all the way down. They're missing 2 rotational guys. They might shift those minutes towards him a little bit, get some extra wing minutes. I know he plays mainly the 3 and 4. It wouldn't shock me if Bertans plays a lot minutes in the higher teens, like 18, 19 minutes today. Those minutes can fluctuate quite a bit with a guy like Bertans. In this game environment, for him to get going at $3,200 on DraftKings, he honestly can knock down 4 3-pointers in 20 minutes of play, get some rebounds, and he's kind of there for you at $3,200. So he's the long shot tournament play. He's virtually unknown, but I don't mind taking a shot on a guy like Bertans, especially in a 3-game slate.
So is there any he may not be, and I defer to you, of course, but he may not be cheap enough on just a 3-game slate to look at value. He is getting about 17% ownership, at least on the field on DK. Is there any opportunity here to gain some leverage by getting to DFS at 5,500? I'm
very
without Bullock.
Sorry?
Without Bullock, which may open up some shooting opportunities for him.
Yeah, it's also DFS is one of those guys I have a personal bias. I hate rostering that guy just because it's I'm looking for a guy who's ball dominant. He's an excellent NBA basketball player, excellent 3-and-D guy, got paid and everything. I'm willing to go under the field on a guy like 5,500. I know it's a great game environment. He might be able to knock down more than 60% of his threes that he attempts. And there was a good stretch about last week where he was playing high 30s and just contributing across the board. I'm willing to shy away from a guy like Dorian Finney-Smith, and I'm willing to take my chances elsewhere.
Okay. Look, I think if we're talking about no Bullock tonight and he's off the injury report. Yeah, I don't know. I can't bet him. So that's always what I look at on top of, DK and News God and what we have here available to us.
Yeah, Reggie Bullock is out for personal reasons. I'm pretty sure. News God can confirm in YouTube chat for us, but if he's around, even Jordan Klein could maybe do a quick peek for us. That'd be great. But I'm pretty sure Reggie Bullock is out for personal reasons.
So from a DFS standpoint, we'll stay as far away from DFS now moving forward, right? But without Bullock out there, this number has dipped a little bit. It used to be plus money, but you can lay the 125 for him to go over 2.5 threes. He snuck by there last game against the Sixers, but that just shows you that he's even in meaningless opportunity or if he's not getting enough looks. So that's the one guy, unless you want to go crazy here and go like 5+ with Luka, which I did not. That's the one guy that I was targeting, especially if we don't have a Reggie Bullock tonight. That always opens up at least some 3 opportunities, a little more. And overall, I mean, look, the dude's averaging 3 in the 8 games this month off 6.5 makes. So he's shooting well. And even when he doesn't get enough or a bunch, he'll have a 1 of 3. I get it. But that's the one that I was targeting tonight. Charlotte, we know the pacing. We know Charlotte, we're going to make some 3s there as well. So I was looking at DFS, not from a fantasy standpoint, at least, but from a betting 3 standpoint.
Yeah, I think 2.5 is just like that. I would, you said the line is 2 over 2.5. You're going to go?
Yeah, it's 2.5.
I think that's fine. I'm like right there. Like that's what I feel like is an appropriate line. So you're willing to take some chances if you're getting plus odds. Are you getting plus odds?
No, see, that's the thing. It's down to minus 125 now. I've been hitting this with it. It's been plus. Okay. He and KCP have been getting pretty good plus odds on over 2.5 threes. Reggie Jackson's another guy, but the books have caught up to it. So it's, again, the under, by the way, just for you.
We have been projected at 2.51 expected 3-pointers made. So the little books have it right, I think. I got to give.
Is that projection not having Bullock in?
Yeah, updated 24 minutes ago. So
okay.
Yeah.
Now, just for your understanding here, or for the VIG, the under 2.5 is minus 102. So there's not that large of a stretch there.
Yeah, there's not that much of a stretch there. The more I think about it, I think I just like a stay away. But
stay away, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd go with a stay away. Is there a Bertans line available?
That's tricky because they've kind of caught up to this. Sometimes if you go like multiple, like 4 threes or 3 threes. No, okay. Let me check DK, see if he's on there. But in the meantime, I'll check Bertans. You like him going over?
I do. I that's just like, I think the minutes can be much higher than what people are expecting today with 2 rotational guys missing.
All right, let me try and find that. Let's flip to Charlotte, though. And again, if you want to look at what we have compared to the field here, the main guys are going to pop up. LaMelo right there, number 1 for Charlotte, but he's 20% at best. So if you are spending up for these guys on Charlotte, Rozier as well, you have a decent opportunity for some leverage here.
Yeah, I don't mind paying up for Charlotte at all in this game environment. I know we're getting them at kind of for a 3-game slate. Look, we got to see the guys who can really help us get there. We've seen guys like LaMelo Ball, Rozier, time and time again, put up monster fantasy performances. Even a guy like Miles Bridges. I like this team overall, and the ownership seems there is some, but I don't mind getting above on some of these guys here, especially a guy like LaMelo Ball or Miles Bridges. Terry Rozier, 3-point bonus on DK can work out for you at 8,400. These guys are much more favorably priced on FanDuel, and I would rather get over the field on a site like FanDuel, and on DraftKings seems more or less to get within the field. I've been always avoiding the front court rotation there. There's been Kelly Oubre's minutes have fallen quite a bit. He's cheap enough where on a 3-game slate, I'm willing to take a flyer on a guy like him. He's one of those guys who's very boom or bust of late, but on a 3-game slate, Kelly Oubre has shown the potential to put up 30+ points when he can play mid-20s minutes. His minutes have fallen. They've been like pretty much like he's lost like 30% of his minutes of late. Some fluky game outcomes, but I don't mind taking a flyer on a guy like Kelly O. the front court is tough to pinpoint. Plumlee, Montrezl Harrell's there. You've seen PJ Washington play some minutes at the 5. It's the big three in Kelly O, and then if you take a flyer on a guy like Montrezl Harrell, sure, at $4,500 on DK, but very, very favorably priced on FanDuel are these Charlotte Hornet guys.
Yeah. Okay. So staying away from lower cost or guys, especially to try and gain any leverage, there's no real reason to rush for anybody kind of at the bottom. You know, I've given up from a betting standpoint on Oubre a long time ago, so I can't imagine that he's got any main chase value here on DFS tonight.
Yeah, it's just a low-owned guy who has some upside. If there's some Miles Bridges foul trouble, some wing foul trouble, Kelly O might get some extra minutes where he can pay off a $4,400 price tag. It's a 3-game slate. That's why he's only kind of an option. His minutes have been very low. It's a very risky play. If you're building many lineups and you fall on a guy like Kelly O, I would not fault you. If you're building like 5 or less, I don't think I can go to Kelly O in confidence at all. It's a long shot tournament play for me. 4,400. He just has the upside to potentially play 25 minutes and pay off a $4,400 price tag.
Got it. So looks like that's pretty much it on the Charlotte side then, right? I mean, look, they launched too. So you do have an opportunity. I got in Miles Bridges over 1.5 minus 104. Now he's been plus money, but unlike what we just mentioned with DFS, there hasn't been that much of a wild swing on the juice. So he's still over 1.5 at minus 104. And you look at what he's been able to do recently. And again, it's some of it is the matchup, but a lot of it is just Charlotte loves to launch. You know, he's gone over this number 3 straight games, 4 of 5. He's averaging 2.5 in this month alone off of just 6 attempts. So, I mean, shooting 42%. I love this at minus 105 tonight from me. Only because I know a lot of people want to target Rozier and they want to target Ball. I think this is still a sneaky market here, this Miles Bridges over 3s.
And you said 1.5. Yeah, we have them at our 1.84. So I think our data team aligns with that as well. So yeah, definitely would be willing to ride that with you. Over 1.5 Miles Bridges on the 3s. Okay.
Hit that thumbs up, please. If you haven't already, make sure that you're subscribed here. Of course, the Odd Shopper channel as well. And we try to mix in both, Andrew. All right. Especially when we have a 3-game slate here. And I don't know, maybe somebody out there was interested and wanted to win some free money. So we'll give them the Miles Bridges thing just at the end. Rinpack's giving you free money every week. I figured I would just try and throw one in there. That's all. My goodness. All right. And beyond that, we'll tell you everything going on here with Prize Picks as well, coming up in a minute in this awesome new betting Discord. If you're not a part of this, what are you doing? The premium betting pick subscription. Now jump in. It's awesome. I'm watching this Discord explode here. Rinpack, people are posting their own stuff. They're getting everything from Alex, from Buzzard, from Rasa. So you've got Steve Buzzard, Ben Rasa, Alex Awesemo Baker. All 3 of these guys are pulling their top ROI picks. They're posting them in the premium betting picks section where you can see. And then there's just this community talking about all these picks. Alex just posted his, I think, like an hour or so ago. So if you're not a part of this, then you're missing out. You can see below how easy it is to click and be a part of this. So we keep telling you about this because you can win money betting. And if you're new to it or you're unfamiliar with it, or you're still just kind of a little trepidatious, is that a term about it? Then you can definitely just coast right in there with these 3 guys. All right,
yeah, if we get to, let's say we got 830 people watch. Let's say if we get to 400 likes, maybe we'll drop a few of those we'll drop a free one for the viewers from the premium betting channel. How does that sound?
Ooh. Yeah, Andrew, trust me, brother. We appreciate you too. It wasn't meant to be anything negative. Let's do that. So we're at 836. If we get to 400, right? 400 likes, we'll leak an NBA and a college pick. How about that?
Let's do it.
All right. I'll leak one of Ross's and you can leak one of Alex's.
Yeah.
You leak the boss's pick. I'll leak one of Ross's. How about that?
Yeah, I'll deal with an angry Alex. It's all good. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't have to. All right, man. Let's hit the Lakers. I love this. You know me. If you bring up a narrative and there's anything behind it, I'll spend an hour talking about it. So LeBron James, 20 points away. I love the idea of the phantom knee injury, the phantom toe injury, the non-COVID illness, whatever you want to have, especially because Westbrook's coming off a pretty good game too. So maybe LeBron's just a good teammate and he thinks, let me get Russ some shine here. Go out there and do it on your own. But on a scale of 0, I'm just playing, to 10, this shit's really going to go down. How serious do you, and I'm asking, not even having fun anymore, but how serious do you think there is a chance that he really doesn't play tonight?
I think it's a little greater than 50-50.
Okay.
Last night they were in Toronto. I'm pretty sure they went to Drake's house afterwards. They hung out at the crib, probably sipped on some Lobos and bumping some new Drake. You already know. I mean, they're celebrating their new Netflix season that they released together. It's greater than 50% chance. I mean, the narrative is like written up for LeBron James. If LeBron James always just seems to play for the crowd, and that's got to be something he saw on the calendar. He's like, I could just sit out this game in Washington, celebrate at home with his homies, and just pass Karl Malone there. I mean, that's a narrative where I'm just making it up out of thin air, but I can't be the only one who's thought of that. He himself has probably as well. Look, we might not get this news before lock, and if LeBron James is out, and this is a massive, massive late swap advantage for us, it makes Russell Westbrook pretty awesome at $6,900 on FanDuel, a very nice price tag for him. Over there on DK, we saw Russ put up a triple-double after hitting a massive game time shot with a second left to go. Played 40+ minutes. They're taking on his former team at Washington. I would like Russ a lot if there's no LeBron. It would make a ton of sense to even take your chance on a guy like Malik Monk. We saw Carmelo Anthony not play yesterday. It would make Carmelo in play. LeBron James being questionable is by far the biggest news and possible late swap advantage in NBA tonight. In NBA DFS, your favorite news is the next news notification we get, and LeBron James might be the most important one of the night, just because that would just make a bunch of guys on the Lakers in play. Taylor Horton-Tucker took the game, did not play yesterday. If he plays today, he's outstanding at his price tags at $4,600, and I believe he is also fairly priced at $5K on FanDuel. So it's tough to pinpoint these guys. It's honestly, if LeBron plays, it's going to be only LeBron James, and I don't mind getting to some Russell Westbrook at $6,900 on FanDuel. Tough to go to anyone else in supreme confidence. In this game, it's a good game environment. The total, I believe, is the highest of the night at 227.5.
It is. Just under the second highest.
Sorry, second highest. Oh, did I? Didn't. Okay.
Well, that Dallas-Charlotte game is expected to have some fireworks, but this one, look, it's not off. You're not far off. You're still pretty high in the total.
Yeah. But just taking a look at that, it's going to come down to what happens to LeBron, if he's going to play or not. That's how we won't know.
All right, so sorry, Rimpack. Let's look at, and I'll give you some time here because I need to take a sip as well. So let's look at LeBron playing in the backdrop in a second. Let's keep pushing this and seeing if there's any way, because I know when you first glance through it, it's like, all right, that's kind of, you draw your line and say that's kind of where I stop. But then when we go a little deeper, there may be an opportunity, right, to get some sort of value or leverage with it. Austin Reeves, I mean, can you get to Avery Bradley? Like, can you get to these Austin Reeves first, like somebody like that without LeBron? And I don't even know if you can answer this question right now, because like we need to take a pause, or we need music. We need something, man. Come on, give me the fight song, Jordan. Look at this. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, dude, go blue. They got to get this done.
Man, this is amazing. How long have you had that hat?
I bought it a little bit intoxicated with my freshman year roommate at the bookstore. We were like, yeah, let's just rock this for a little bit. I've had it for, it's been about 8 or 9 years. Yeah, I have like a pregame bag of like hats that I wore throughout my years in Ann Arbor. I have like a safari hat. I got a ton of machine hats. So just lying.
Oh my goodness, man. This is a wardrobe that, like, this is a mid-show wardrobe that would bring a tear to Mr. Rogers' eye, man. This is amazing.
Yeah, you got to do. I mean, you never know. This might be some good luck charm. Hopefully Michigan gets that dub. It's real, by the way. If chat's wondering, I did dye my hair yellow. It's real.
Oh, yeah. You just did that. That's what I mean. That's why I tried to filibuster a little bit on Austin Reeves, is to give you time to just put a little bit more on there and make sure it was good. You didn't even need one of those plastic bags you have to get at the CVS.
No, it's all real. It's all real. It's nice and soft. Yeah. It's go blue season, baby. But
I love it, man. You didn't go blonde, you went gold. I love it.
Yeah. It is. You guys can't see it, but it's nice. It feels nice too. But on to talk about Austin Reeves and Avery Bradley. Quite the transition. Yes. Oh man, it's tough to go to any of those guys in confidence. LeBron's out.
At least Michigan's not playing right now. Can you imagine that you'd be off? You would have.
Oh yeah, no. The game was supposed to tip off at 5:15, but I think one of the games went to overtime, and they're going to tip off at 5:50. So, Reeves or Bradley, Avery Bradley is just so hard to go to any sort of confidence. He played 25 minutes and had one of his better fantasy performances of the season at 25 fantasy points. He's $3,300 on DraftKings. He did close the game there. Austin Reeves been playing high 20s minutes of late. It's been interesting to see Reeves get 7 rebounds, 6 assists, getting involved in more ways peripheral stats than I expected him to. I don't mind coming in with the field as one of those guys. It is so hard to pinpoint this Lakers team just because of the LeBron situation that we have presented to us. So, and another guy, Wenyen Gabriel, got the start yesterday and played well. He did leave the game a little bit. I don't expect him to go 7 of 8 from the field again. And he's also center only eligible. I'd rather be willing to take some other chances on some other centers on this slate. Center's kind of poor, but there's some Cleveland centers and that guy like Mobley or Love and some Pistons centers that I'd rather take my chances on than Wenyen Gabriel. Wenyen Gabriel has a real floor, so it's tough to go there in any sort of confidence.
All right, let's keep it moving then. And I did see both sides, really. So who's got the bigger revenge game? Is it Westbrook or Kuzma tonight?
Yeah, you got sent from LA to DC. Yeah, it's probably Kuzma. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Westbrook just plays the revenge every day nowadays, and he just hits the side of the backcourt.
Westbrook's revenge games are home games.
Oh man. That's dirty. That's not nice, Eytan. That's not nice.
Oh, I'm just saying, like, there's so much heat on him that he's probably as motivated to stick it to Lakers fans as he is to anybody down in Washington.
Yeah, I completely. Yeah,
not like I called him Westbrook.
Oh, you don't want to get him started. He might just show up on this show. He might come after you, Eytan. But right. He's $6,900 on FanDuel. He's I think a good play on FanDuel at $6,900. He has the upside to produce with LeBron James. I know it's not been very consistent this season, but if LeBron James is out, Russell Westbrook becomes an elite play on the slate. And hopefully, maybe there's like, if you pick one way or the other, it's fine. I think I'm already going to be ahead of the field on Russell Westbrook because I think there'll be a massive edge of having him if LeBron James is out on this slate. So We'll see what the ownership ends up coming in. We might get Russ at lower ownership just because there won't be much late swap flexibility, that being the last game of the night at 8 p.m. And there will be a Pistons game that tips off at the similar time, but with just the last amount of games today, it might be to your advantage, but knowing the downside, if LeBron does play, we might get a floor game out of Russ, but the upside of getting a Russell explosion with no LeBron James is definitely on the table.
All right, let's talk about LeBron in some depth here. Malaluka, pardon me, on the super chat. Appreciate that. Go Blue. Thanks for everything. Love it. Go Blue. Did I butcher the name?
Malakar?
Every time I see Jordan laughing at something I say, I just assume that it's me and it's not him, surfing something during our show, tuning us out.
Oh, I mean, I don't know why Jordan's laughing. I heard he had one too many last night.
No, he had one too many Pizzolis. I thought that's like a chicken thing, a chicken Pizzoli. Isn't that something? Chicken Pizzola?
Go ahead.
Chicken Pizzola is Mexican soup. It's like a Mexican type soup.
Oh no, I'm thinking of something different then. Okay. That's fine. Love it. We need all the Go Blue vibes we can get here. All right. Push everything towards Michigan to knock off Tennessee and Rick Barnes and This thing is crazy right now, by the way. I don't know if you have any eyes on this Kansas Creighton game. This thing is winding down.
What's the score? What's the count?
75-72. I have it with 54 seconds to go. Creighton just called a 30-second timeout.
Creighton is up?
Madness. No, Creighton is down by 3, 49 seconds to go.
We might see 2 1-seeds just go down on the opening weekend.
Can you believe that? When was the last time that's happened? Back to back.
Yeah, and a 2-seed in Kentucky's gone too. Jeez.
It's amazing. Amazing. See, there's hope. There's hope. Ryan Nelson, 0-2 on the super chat. Michigan guards need to play well against the UT freshmen. Ziegler and Chandler are tough.
Yeah, I know. Tennessee's team is a very good team. They could easily go on to win this thing outright. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I think Michigan's going to get the Devontae Jones back, coming back from concussion. But Frankie Collins played the game of his life. He kind of carried the team down the stretch. We'll see who Juwan starts. I wouldn't mind if Juwan starts the young kid Frankie Collins, but it's going to be Hunter Dickinson. He has to put up like a game of like 20 and 15, 25 and 10, just to carry the team on his back. He's kind of too stagnant at times. The team operates much better when it's free flowing. And I think Caleb Houston's Klay Thompson 2.0, and I'm not kidding. So,
all right, let's get back to LeBron real quick. We'll go to some more depth on Washington as well. Maybe it is Ish Smith or somebody along those lines that you can find some mid-range value with. But if LeBron is in, how does that trickle down work for you? So let's just assume now you're getting word. All right, LeBron is in. He's locked in. You know that he's a spend-up option. You know that he has that record. You also know that, as you laid out, that trickle down now, everybody else is impacted significantly with him on the floor.
Yeah, if LeBron is in, it only helps LeBron James that he's in it. It just affects everyone else and just downwards. I wouldn't mind falling on some LeBron James. I would have to throw the narrative out the window at that point, just because he probably doesn't care about it. LeBron James would be an outstanding play. And anytime when LeBron's on a 3-game slate, you're going to have some interest. The ownership's kind of already there. He makes for great play. But if I were to prefer one stud or the other, if it's Luka or LeBron, if I'm building one lineup, I'm going to go with Luka. If I had to pick one stud to pay up for, it's going to be Luka, because those are the 2 super studs on the slate. And I just prefer Luka. A lot more boxes checked off for him. I know he's a bit more expensive, but you got to pay up for nice things. Luka makes for an outstanding play. LeBron also power forward center. If you play LeBron James at center, I have no issues. Center is very weak today. It's kind of gross, honestly. So you could do a lot if LeBron James is ruled in.
Yeah, I think just getting to him, you think, look, this is all going to change, right? But right now we have him projected 30%. Let's say, do you find yourself, and again, you're building multiple lineups, I get it, but do you find yourself more often than not overweight to that number with LeBron tonight, assuming he's in, compared to what you mentioned with Luka, who's right there at the top, 20% ownership points higher. And these are free for you all out there tonight as well.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be a little bit under right now. I'm just going to bank on the narrative that LeBron James is going to sit tonight. And I think it can pay off massively. And look, it can easily burn me too. That's why we play this game day in and day out. I got to approach the slate one way or the other, where I personally think it can work out better for me. And I think there's a good chance it could work out better for me if I proceed the slate with LeBron James not playing tonight.
Awesome. Shout out to Steven Leibowitz, by the way. He had that Anthony Edwards over 3 prop on the chat. I stayed away from that. I had something else cooking, but he's one away from going over early in this
Giannis
game.
didn't play that game. Yeah, Giannis is out, right?
Yep. So that's a big one right there. All right, so we've got Washington now a little deeper. We'll take a look at that. Detroit, Cleveland as well. If you haven't hit that thumbs up button, please make sure also that you click that link below for Prize Picks. We want you to sign up there at Prize Picks and play it. I know Linquist, a bunch of our guys are constantly tweeting about these big ticket winnings over there at Prize Picks. Good news is that we have all of our projections. Odd Shopper, I'm doing Prize Pick videos. Odd Shopper is a Bible for anything that you want to do as far as betting individual player props. It's not just the books. It's places like Prize Picks as well. So click the link, match your first deposit up to $100, and we'll give you 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum so that you don't have to wait around once a week and hope that something like ownership projections are free. I do have a monster, massive, over-the-top, ambitious parlay to get you once we're all said and done here. It's a 4-leg parlay, and one of them is already underway. All right. So I cheated and I played one already for you, Rimpack. And that's Grayson Allen, 4+3s at plus 350. Now, before you laugh and scoff at me for playing that, he's already 2 of 4 in this game in the first quarter.
Who's the rest of the parlay with?
Oh, I'm going to get to that as that's like at the end. I'll give that at the end. This is just me teasing you a little bit and saying that it had to do with Grayson Allen because you mentioned that game. That's all. All right. So Washington, how are you attacking this? Let's just, LeBron is in. We talked about that from the assumption of LA's side, but Kristaps and Kuz are right there at the top, 30% ownership each. So really, I'm sorry, you've got actually a bunch of guys, Washington, about 5 guys, really, 6 guys, really, on Washington that are popping up like 20% or higher. So this is the most popular team that we have top to bottom from the field in this 6-team slate. Pardon me.
Yeah, rightfully so. I mean, they're taking on a very piss poor Lakers team. The Lakers team doesn't care about defense, and I like targeting Kuzma. I like going to Kuzma yet again. I was pretty high on him yesterday. It was okay. It didn't burn me. He was an outstanding. Across the board, I don't mind going to Kuzma at all. But we're getting some popular ownership on some low-owned cheaper guys here. Guys like Hachimura, a guy like Danny Abdia, even Corey Kispert's getting some ownership. Now, they're getting ownership just because of the game environment. They're popping up in optimizers and everything. I want to shy away a tad bit from the ownership here and mix and match with other low-owned guys. Granted, these guys project point per dollar value-wise really, really well. I would be hesitant to get with the field here just because on a 3-game slate, there are a lot of ways to mix and match with the rest of the cheaper guys that we've touched on already. But like, for example, we got Maxi Kleber starting right now. I'd rather pay in the forward spot on DK, pay an extra $200 for Maxi Kleber than Danny Abdia right now. Little things like that where the ownership's going to probably fluctuate with that news as well. I want to shy away from the ownership just a tad bit. 40% Danny Abdia. Can he get there? Certainly, but I don't think. I think I'd rather take the rest of the field at times. I like Porzingis a lot as well at $7,500. Yes, it is a back-to-back. We haven't seen Porzingis play over 30 minutes yet in a Wizards uniform, but he can certainly do so. He put up 40 fantasy points last time they played in 25 minutes. Maybe he plays 27, 28 minutes. And sure, you'll definitely take 40 fantasy points at that salary on this type of slate. He has the upside to do that for you. It's Porzingis. We've seen it time and time again. I don't mind Porzingis at all, especially when he has center eligibility. And center's kind of gross. Porzingis has it in his bag to be the highest scoring center on the slate. And especially over there on FanDuel, he's also power forward center eligible. So I don't mind Porzingis at all. I'm just shying away from the other secondary, tertiary guys on this team. KCP is very heavily outpriced for me at 5,600. He's also, I believe, questionable last I checked. Let me just make sure. Kentavious is questionable with a left ankle injury. Now, if KCP is out, it's a big bump for guys in the backcourt. We might see more minutes for Corey Kispert. We might see more minutes for Tomas Satoransky. And we might see a little Ish Smith, Raul Neto playing on the court together as well. So keep an eye on the KCP news. That will open things up in the backcourt. KCP is just always a lock to play 30-plus minutes. So it's going to open things up quite a bit for this Wizards team.
Right. And that's the other thing, too, which is, looking at anything deeper here where you could counter the field, it's going to have to be way down there, right? Like I don't even know if it's worth it at this point to even try. So if you are rolling heavy there really isn't anybody that you could take advantage of and gain some leverage, unless it's like Daniel Gafford, right? And that you may not even be gaining enough leverage for that play to even be worth it.
Yeah, it might not even be worth it.
Right.
See, for example, I think you gotta look ahead a little bit of what if scenarios that might happen. Let's say if LeBron James is out, there's a chance that we might even see a guy like Dwight Howard enter the starting lineup. Howard is $4,000. And I think, is he still in the mint over there on FanDuel? He is certainly the man on FanDuel. So it might change a lot with this LeBron James situation where if Howard's going to start, I'll take 20 minutes of Howard versus 20 minutes of Gafford. Just the way the ball will roll sometimes. But it's all about taking some risks on guys who are not projected as well on 3-game slates that might have the outlier performance for you to take you there. So that's how I'm envisioning this slate. Obviously, massive news implications in this game. KCP, LeBron James. We've got where Carmelo is going to play. I believe Horton Tucker is still questionable. So a lot of moving parts for a 3-game slate where late swap is always on the table. More and more people are definitely late swapping nowadays, but there are ways to do it more effectively. And our projections update to the second. I mean, shout out to Sean, shout out to Steve, shout out to Alex. They make sure our projections are out there faster than anyone else out there. It's like within seconds that our projections are updated. It's truly remarkable. I did get a question. Okoro Okliba.
Yeah, I saw that just now from Michael.
Yeah, Michael Starr.
Good one.
I hate playing Isaac Okoro. I absolutely detest playing that guy, but he's been playing a ton of minutes late. I'm going to go with Kleba. I'll go with Kleba.
Oh, my goodness here. I love it, man. By the way, I'm seeing a couple of people that your Michigan hat and the gold hair is much better than whatever the hell that Guy Fieri look is, because that's like Spike. Like you can't do Rinpack like that. Okay, I can't let y'all do Rinpack like that. That's not a Guy Fieri is up. Like Rinpack is just kind of out, like spilling down. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Guy Fieri is. I need to take 2 hours and then have my stylist take it to create this manufactured, like, what is it, Flavortown look? That's just out. Like that's the crazy look, man.
This is just organic. This is all organic.
Yeah, exactly.
All organic.
Exactly right. All right, last game for us, man. Detroit at Cleveland, and definitely save the best for last. Let's look at our free projections today so you can take full advantage of these if you haven't already. And again, we're trying to give out these free picks here. We can get to 400. We've got over 1,000. We've got 1,089 people watching here. We're just trying to give out this free Rasa play in college and this free Alex play in the NBA. Rinpack set the number at 400, so I think we can get there by all means. And look, as somebody who's had that whatever that Flavortown burger is, I stand by my statements. All right. So Detroit plus 5.5 on the road at Cleveland. But more importantly, it's about trying to leverage anything here. So let's look at the Pistons first and foremost. Cunningham, of course, is going to be up there. Mobley is, let's start with Cleveland or Detroit. I mean, Cunningham at the top, 29%. Let's start there. And then if you are looking at someone like Sadiq Bey, you might be able to get a little bit of leverage, although he's about 19-20% projected owned as well.
Yeah, it's for this Detroit team, we do get some bodies back in the picture. Cade's going to be back. Jeremy Grant's going to be back. It's very unlikely that Sadiq Bey is going to shoot the ball 27 times and knock down 10 threes again. And it's just not – will take the unders on that across the board. So I'm shying away from Sadiq Bey, small forward only. In terms of Detroit, I really like going to Cade Cunningham across the board, especially $7,500 on FanDuel. Looks like an outstanding play. Cade's been picking it up of late. He's been playing really good basketball fantasy-wise, shooting the ball better. We've seen when he's been on the court, I want to say the last 7 of 8 games or 6 of 8 games, he shot the ball 20 or more times. And shooting the ball at that high of a volume of times, he should be priced in the mid 8Ks on FanDuel, honestly. It wouldn't shock me if we see Cade Cunningham crack the 9K barrier at one point this season. He has been playing exceptional basketball, and it's a battle of the first and second overall pick. And Cade says he does like to show up other rookies indirectly in post-game conferences. And if he's going to play, and when he's been playing healthy, he's been playing 36, 37, 38 minutes when he's avoiding foul trouble. That's the key word for Cade Cunningham. There's a long stretch there late in February. He was just picking up 3 first-half fouls, and Dwayne Casey just like sitting the guy on the bench as soon as he picks up the third. So I really like Cade Cunningham on FanDuel, even on DraftKings. FanDuel price tag $7,500 looks outstanding to me. Honestly, I'm all about that price tag. Even Jeremy Grant, I prefer Cade and Jeremy Grant over rostering Sadiq Bey. I know Sadiq Bey priced very favorably at $5,600, but Jeremy Grant at $5,900 getting him projected a little bit lower ownership, and Grant someone who can certainly put a 40 at that price tag. I know it's a Cleveland spot. They have not been as good defensively without Jared Allen. I like Cade and Jeremy Grant a significant amount on this slate. It's a 3-game slate. And this Detroit team, I believe, has over their last 12 games either pushed or covered the spread. They've been playing really, really well, this team down the stretch here, as they don't care about tanking no more, it seems like.
No, I mean, they had that lone game Thursday, right, where they went outright in Orlando. Mm-hmm. And you're right, as far as that cover goes. So it sounds like of all the pay up / if you want to call quasi pay up, right, and shorter slate. So you can justify, I think, an 8,300 on DK as somewhat of a pay up option. But it seems like we talked about Luke at the beginning, and he's at 50%. But it seems like Cunningham is one, if not your favorite pay up options that we've talked about.
Yeah, I really like Cunningham tonight. I know he's coming back from an illness, not a significant injury or any sort of things, just dealing with a Florida bug, I believe. So keep an eye on that. I think he's probable to go. Yeah, I really do like Cunningham tonight. And there are some other value guys if you want to sprinkle in on Detroit. Tough to go to Isaiah Stewart, Marvin Bagley, Kelly Olynyk. They have their own 3-headed front court rotation, similar to what we see in Charlotte. We're dealing with here in Detroit as well. Kelly Olynyk is a guy on a 3-game slate. He's $3,800. If there's foul trouble, Olynyk can be on the court for 20 minutes and put up 30 fantasy points. He has that in his bag. Unlikely we see it. The minutes have not cracked 20 over the last 5 games. And that too, last time they were shorthanded. So long shot tournament only play, a guy who just has the upside within him to pull that off. If you're building many lineups, if you fall on an Olynyk, I wouldn't fault you for it, but can't go there if I'm building less than 5 lineups or 10 lineups.
Anybody else? I'm sorry.
Over here on Detroit, I'm Corey Joseph, Killian Hayes are both back. It's been tough to pinpoint who's going to close always. Killian Hayes is dealing with a head contusion. Tough to go anywhere in the Detroit backcourt in confidence. It's just the studs and Cade and Jeremy Grant right now for me, barring any surprising news. If Killian Hayes is out, I wouldn't mind playing Kojo. We did say Kojo played 30 minutes last time out, but keep an eye on the Killian Hayes situation.
Now, I know these guys are going an extra half hour tonight leading up to the 7:30 close, but like, don't you think, and look, I can't speak for Matt LaMarca, right? But don't you think EMAC at the very least is a good enough human being to come on 7 minutes earlier and say, look, Rinpack, my goodness, this is your team. Like, he's wearing a Michigan hat. It's not even a hat, it's a head. He's wearing a Michigan head. Don't you think that both of these guys would have the decency to say, look, Rinpack, we'll come in. I'm not trying to leave early, so I'll stay here right up until the time is. But I mean, I'm seeing the chat is doing you a favor already, updating you on scores, up 3-0, 6-0 right away. So this is so difficult for you. We still have one more team in Cleveland to get through.
Yeah, no, shout out to the chat, giving me some live updated play-by-play. Appreciate that. And hopefully I see Michigan's off to a 6-0 start. I need those threes to fall. I need Michigan to run away with this so I can enjoy my late swapping NBA DFS de jours. Yep. But I got to definitely I do appreciate chat doing this. Nice to see Michigan's off to a nice start.
Ryan had a question on the chat, Mobley or Cade, if you were looking at that.
So, I mean, 2 different positions. Looking at Evan Mobley, I mean, Mobley, you got to have a ton of interest in. I know we saw Markin have the explosion game last night out. Mobley still was amazing himself. I have interest in both of these guys, but if you were to tell me to roster one, it's Cade on FanDuel and Mobley on DraftKings is how I would handle the position. Really like Mobley taking up your center spot on either side, honestly. I really do like the upside for Evan Mobley tonight.
LaMarca's in the house. I figured. I only said it because I figured he'd be hovering there. So I stand corrected. All right. LaMarca is a good enough human being in which he would have come in earlier if given the opportunity. Now, I didn't say he wasn't. I just said I want to speak for him. But
I was really hoping we could give away the free picks if we got to 400. We got to 270. I'm a little sad. I was feeling generous. Yeah,
you know, that is a shame. Look, we still have 5 minutes to go, and maybe because of some of these games aren't starting till later anyway, right? From college to the NBA standpoint. So maybe Emac and LaMarca there can pick that up, but they should bump it, right? Like not to 400. They should get to like 700 or 800, right?
They definitely could. They definitely could. I see. And we're about to cross 300, so we never know. We never know. We might just pull off
absolutely
back door there.
Scarecrow, we appreciate the super chat big time there, and trust me, this is the most difficult 10 minutes of any show Rinpack has ever done. All right.
Now, I've had some brutal shows with 10 minutes left to go. There was one time in the NBA bubble, we got news that DeAndre Ayton missed COVID testing. And okay. I have no idea how he missed COVID testing in the NBA bubble. And I'm just scrambling. Shout out to Chris Spags, who held down the fort. But you can see on screen my face just die of like, oh my God, I just have so much DeAndre Ayton. I have no idea how to get off of him. So trust me, I've had worse painful 10 minutes on a show.
Oh man. See, that's got to be the most frustrating thing for you guys. And I say you guys is like, we all have a chance. We all have an opportunity, but you guys, like the people in your position who are also doing this right before lock. It's one thing if you're doing the deeper dive, but like you have as legit of a shot to win the damn thing as I have to win my money back. And, the final minute or so of a lock show where you're scrambling. I mean, I can't even imagine that shit. Right? I've seen Linquist many a times been like, damn it, I can't get it in there, and just like shut down for the final 10 minutes.
Yeah, there's a reason why I'm not on live before lock since then. So they definitely saw what happened and they were like, let's not put him on those anymore. No, honestly, it's really hard to do live before lock, playing across multiple sites. If there was a way to like, if there was no NBA news and like if it was like baseball or something, I could definitely handle it. But when there's like news breaking 5 to 10 minutes up to lock, it is so critical to get something in there with updated projections, because that edge alone can put you in a spot to compete at the end of the night. Most nights,
yep,
you're going to be close, but not close enough, or in like that little edge is in a game that's already gotten pretty hard over the years. It's definitely very important to get that in there in an up time. There's so many times I still miss my CSVs regardless. It's just a bad habit of mine, bad organization. It's something I keep working on. I consistently miss uploading my CSV. So
I get it, man. I definitely understand it. And unlike Dan in the chat, who I totally understand his frustration, I tried to keep my composure as my same game parlay of Patrick Beverly over 1.5 and Drew Holiday over 1.5 threes destroyed. Pat Bev gets ejected. Pat Bev, the 3-point god, gets ejected, and there goes my ticket. By the way, Grayson Allen is 3 of 6 with 6:17 to go in the second quarter. All right, we might
Grayson
be
Allen getting them buckets for sure.
We might be on. All right, I'm going to leave you with this, and I never do this. This is the most. We always give you individual plays. I gave you a couple of individual 3-point plays that I like. I always save the weekend stuff for you here on this show. This is, you could run this in a 2-leg round robin if you like. This is the most aggressive parlay that I could find here. All right. Grayson Allen, 4+ threes. Luka Doncic, that's at 350. Luka Doncic, 5+ at +200. Your boy, Isaac Okoro, 2+ threes, +430. And then KCP, if he's in there, we're going 4+ at +300. That gets you a +28,520 return.
Oh my!
But look, I'm actually running this in a 2-leg round robin to be complete. I'm not running it in a parlay. So
gotcha.
There you go. And I never give crazy shit like that out, but I figured it's a 3-game slate, and one of them is Detroit, Cleveland. Why the hell not?
Definitely understood there. I hate rostering Isaac Okoro. He's coming in with some significant amount of owners, not significant, but a lot higher ownership than we usually see Okoro on bigger slates just because of the slate size. 4K and 4,100 on DraftKings and FanDuel respectively. I want to shy away a little bit. In this slate, I know I've been saying shying away from these value plays a lot throughout the show. It's just not strong value, and it's going to force my hand a little bit. Like Lamar Stevens is 3K. I'm going to have to play some of him. It's just that gross of a slate. And Cleveland, it's a good Detroit spot. I really like Evan Mobley. I want to be under the field on Lauri Markkanen, coming off a career high performance, I believe, last night, 31 real life points. Sorry, not a career high. I think a Cleveland high for him. He's priced kind of fairly well on DraftKings, but I just think recency bias ownership will be on the table. Definitely balled out last night. I'd be willing to hopefully strike gold on if Lakers news if LeBron James is out, but we shall see how that pans out. Cleveland team, I like Mobley a lot. And then my second favorite Cleveland guy will be Garland, but it's $9,100. Garland is expensive. I'd rather save and go to Cade. $8,500, same situation. Would rather save and go to Cade or LaMelo Ball. Garland's kind of getting priced out for me tonight.
I bet I feel terrible. There's 15-10 to go in the first half. Go on, get out of here. Renpack the GOAT here in the Michigan gear, including the Michigan head. You have to hit the thumbs up, please, if you haven't already. Thanks to Jordan producing. He's not going anywhere like you aren't. All right, so it's Emac and LaMarca coming right up. It's always a pleasure, my man. Let's go. Go Blue. Let's do it. Go Michigan.
Go Blue.
I'm rooting for Martelli, too.
Awesemo, here we go. It's your old pal Emac coming to you on a Saturday night. It's been a hot minute since I've done anything other than Sunday Night Live before lock. I am joined by one Matt LaMarca here. I believe this is our second show, so this should be a little fun. I'm a big fan. I watch you and Greg do a lot of the Saturday night shows. Greg, I believe, is off doing something with his family, so you get us tonight. Hope everybody's doing well. 3-game slate, 1 game locking at 7 o'clock. Of course, we're going against some primetime March Madness later tonight. We have 2 games going at 8 o'clock. No real injury news that we're waiting on, but we're skeptical of a few things. Is LeBron playing on the back-to-back? Maybe. Is Kristaps Porzingis really going to play on this back-to-back? Maybe. We'll have to wait till we get to starting lineups. But Matt, how have you been doing? It's been a couple of weeks since we got to do a show.
Yeah, it's good. As always, honored to be joined by the future president of the United States. I don't get the NBA's whole scheduling thing because, they're kind of avoiding March Madness, but then they're just going to have to face off with it tomorrow, kind of like they did on Thursday, Friday by having 1 game and then 12 games. So an interesting slate, not a ton of star power. LeBron is definitely the biggest name here to monitor. I'm expecting him to play just because the Lakers don't really have a choice. They kind of need him right now. But it is a back-to-back. He did play, 44 minutes in an overtime game the night before. So it is something we have to keep our eye on.
All right. Well, let's kind of jump in here. Chat, we'll navigate this. Ideally, we'll have some time for some questions. And of course, we are staying on for an extra half hour. We will be talking prize picks. A couple things I want to point out. They do have college basketball available. Fantasy points, assists, rebounds, points, and points plus rebounds plus assists are the main categories that they have at this time. We also at OddsShopper have posted the college basketball version of OddsShopper, so you guys can check that out. It's a lot of fun, wealth of information there that will help you on prize picks. The interesting thing is not all of the prize picks player props are on OddsShopper, as well as vice versa. Some of these sports wagering sites have been going deep into what I thought the rotations were, and I like to use the Matt Gajewski projections, which are feeding in, I believe, are the ones feeding into OddsShopper right now. So it's been a lot of fun. I'll have to check out. I did 2 parlays for this Creighton Baylor game, so I'll have to see how those worked out. But remember, when you sign up for prize picks, if you use the promo code Awesemo, they will match up to your first $100 deposit. That money comes out of your account first automatically when you make your player cards here. And then you will also get 30 free days of Awesemo premium content. So that is basically $190 value. All you have to do is deposit $100. And if you start winning off the 100 they've given you, well, you just take your 100 back out and have some fun here. So it's a good way to go. Are you able to do prize picks in the state you are in?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I never know because I can't remember if they can do it in New York, but not New Jersey or vice versa. I always get confused. And I thought you were are you in New York?
I am in New York.
Okay. For a hot minute, I had a Green Bay image. I'm like, wait, that's Gajewski's the only one up that way. So, all right, let's get on into it here. Guards will have lots to say about Luka Doncic. He is someone who is interesting. It is a back-to-back for the Mavericks. However, Doncic played just 35 minutes last night in Philadelphia and just over 4 minutes in the fourth quarter. So Spencer Dinwiddie has been ruled out today. Jalen Brunson should see a step up. Reggie Bullock went from out to available to out again. He's dealing with a personal matter. That was one of those where I went away for the afternoon and came back. I'm like, wait, Reggie Bullock's out? Didn't he just get ruled in when I was writing the article? So we'll see. And then we have potentially Russell Westbrook. Did you know, and I'm going to turn it over to you to talk about your favorite guards here, but did you know that Russell Westbrook has 38 triple-doubles as a Washington Wizard in just 65 games? He has almost 40% of the franchise triple-doubles of the Washington Wizards.
I would not have come up with that many. If you told me he played 65 games, I would have said maybe 20.
Right.
So yeah, he really has taken the triple double and made it just, it's casual. It's not even impressive anymore, it feels like. So, of course, he could use a few more triple doubles this season. So, point guard is interesting today. I do think at the top, Luka stands out as my favorite stud option. He's really only competing with LeBron at the tippity top of the pricing spectrum, but you factor in no Spencer Dinwiddie and no Reggie Bullock, a massive pace up spot here for the Mavericks. Dallas is dead last in pace this season. Charlotte is third. So, a very nice matchup for him. He's already been playing great of late. He's averaging, 1.6 DraftKings points for the season. I think this is a spot where he's somebody I'm going to be overweight on, right? We have him projected as the highest owned guard, but he still is pretty neutral from a leverage perspective. In the boom bust tool, his optimal lineup score is easily the top mark at the position. So he's a stud player that is going to be popular, that I'm very comfortable being overweight on.
All right. As we continue to move down the chart here, I should probably upload some new projections. That would be helpful for us here. But we've got my favorite play of tonight, particularly on Yahoo at $34, is going to be Darius Garland. Now he's 8,500 on FanDuel, 9,100 on DraftKings. The only concern is that this is the third game in 4 nights for Cleveland, and he played 45 minutes last night, helping the Cavs secure victory against the Nugget in overtime. That is the second overtime game this week for, did I say Winston Garland? Darius Garland. Winston is his dad. I keep getting them confused. Well, I don't get them confused, but I say the wrong name. Winston Garland on my first ever fantasy basketball team back in the 1989. Long time ago. But Darius looking pretty spectacular, but he also played 45 minutes on Monday, and Cleveland won that game as well. But they're just one game ahead of Toronto. They want to stay out of the play-in tournament. So I think this is, a good spot to roll with him. The best prices on Yahoo, and I can see getting to him on FanDuel. DraftKings is going to be a little bit tougher there at 9,100. How are you feeling about Darius Garland?
Yeah, I mean, Garland is doing everything for Cleveland. You look at a lot of the, some of the more advanced metrics like touches, time per possession. He is among the league leaders in all of those stats. He has the ball in his hands on basically every possession for Cleveland. And that's obviously led to some excellent fantasy results. This matchup versus the Pistons is interesting. When I saw this game, I was expecting Cleveland to be pretty sizable favorites. They're 6-point favorites, so I'm not sure what to make of that. I don't know if this is like a trap spot. Maybe, as you mentioned, it's all those games in a row that the odds makers are expecting some fatigue or something here. But I do think, the Pistons, they've been subpar defensively all year. So there's no reason to be too scared of Garland. Like you said, he's expensive on DraftKings, but certainly on FanDuel, I think he is definitely in play, and Yahoo as well.
All right. How are you feeling about, you mentioned Detroit, Cade Cunningham here. He has been a little banged up. He has not played in the last 6 days, he has been a little bit banged up. This latest miss of games was because he has, I believe he had an illness on top of everything else. Killian Hayes is, I can't remember if I think he's out. Let's just look at that real quick.
I have questions.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Then ruled out.
Nope, still questionable. So there we go. But he's dealing with a concussion. So that's one of those where you're either in or out. If he's in, I would expect full run. Cunningham is in to all but officially in today. We don't have that starting lineup yet. How do you feel about Cunningham? Jeremy Grant should be back. Seems like Hamidou Diallo still out. Frank Jackson still out. This could mute the less than exciting Corey Joseph, but it's a 6-team player pool. We have to talk about Corey Joseph. We're going to talk about Halzino Neto pretty soon here. Ishmael Smith. It's going to be fun. But what are you liking here with the Detroit high to low on their guards?
So yeah, Cunningham has been playing easily his best ball of his rookie year of late. He's up to 1.17 DraftKings points per minute over the past month. And he's been getting, routinely into the 40-minute range. My big issue here is that I think that I'm getting to a lot of lineups where I have Luka and LeBron at the moment. And when I'm making that pairing, it is very hard to fit Cade Cunningham alongside him, those two players. So I will be underweight on Cunningham in what is a very tough matchup versus Cleveland. Detroit is implied for 105.5 points. That's the lowest mark on the slate by, a sizable margin. So I feel okay about being underweight on Cunningham, but of course he has big upside at this price tag. We've seen it all year, right? The big difference with Cunningham now is he's putting these games together a little bit more consistently. So yeah, he's a somewhat scary fade at his current price tag, but I think he's a candidate of all the popular high price players. He's the one that I will probably be underweight on.
Right. In honor of Greg Ehrenberg, who apparently was making fun of me while I was out in Nashville last week and on the shows, something about ageism. We don't like that. We have HR now here at Awesemo. And oh, by the way, I am in HR in my day job. So I'm feeling a little prosecuted here, but as an olive branch offering, I'm going to, when we get to where are we at? We're at 400 likes, just shy. 500 likes, you get to see my silly t-shirt. So I chose one that I could put on today because Greg often has some really good t-shirts out there. So I thought this would be a fun one. This was a custom made. It is one of a kind. And then if we get to 600 likes, we will honor the Awesemo player, what do we call it? The bets pick here that Eytan and Rinpak promise. So we will give you 2 of our bets if we get up to 600, but get us up to 500 here and you guys get to see my goofy shirt. It's well worth it. Jordan Klein does approve of this one. And I see Malakar saying, what the flock does it say? Well, we get another 90 thumbs up here and you're going to get to see what it is. I promise you it is worth it. All righty, back to our guards here. I got our projections uploaded here. LaMelo Ball just not really getting the dominating minutes recently. Generally caps out around a soft 30, I would say. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games prior to 3 games ago in his last game. He had played 31 or less, generally between 28 and 31. He got 36 in the game against Atlanta. That was a spirited game there. How do you feel about him tonight? Is he someone you would go to at a similar price on some of the sites to Darius Garland if you were worried about Garland's maybe having some lead-leggedness, if you will?
Yeah, I think he's an interesting pivot, right? I mean, he's displayed pretty similar upside for most of the year. As you mentioned, the minutes have been down, but he did kind of bounce back in their last game. He played over 36 and scored 55 DraftKings points. So I think there's at least reason to consider him at reduced ownership. The big concern here is the matchup. As I mentioned, Dallas dead last in pace, and they've also been pretty sneaky good defensively this year. So I don't think this is it's certainly not a good spot. It would purely be a game theory type play. And I'm not sure that Garland is going to command enough ownership compared to LaMelo to really make it all that viable.
All right, so we do have, let's see, we've got LaMelo at, this is DK, 20% right now. Garland at 34, even being $300 more expensive is coming in a little bit higher. For the overall slate amongst all players, Garland is the 3rd most popular right now on DraftKings. Luka Doncic is at basically on half of all rosters. Danny Avdija is looking like he's checking in around 40%. And then we've got some other wizards there with Porzingis at 30%, Kuzma at 30%, LeBron James at 30% for the time being here. LeBron James on DraftKings, now power forward center eligible. I think he has now officially had all positions on DraftKings over the last 2 seasons. That's pretty impressive.
I mean, that's fair.
Can't they just make him utility? He should be the one guy they do that with, right?
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. But if I was going to classify him as anything these days, it would probably be a power forward / center. So I give DraftKings credit for that one. We give them some flack sometimes, but I think that's an accurate positional representation.
Yes, most definitely. All right, so that was we'll get back to the guards here. I do want to remind everybody again that we will be staying on an extra 30 minutes here. We'll cover any of the breaking news that happens may happen prior to the 8 o'clock lock, as long as we're on air, and then we'll be talking prize picks. We've got a lot of fun in store for that, so I'm looking forward to that. But reminder, you can help us keep all of our shows free. If you continue to like and subscribe, it helps us out a lot. You can check out today's premium tools. We do have the NBA main slate ownership that is available for free today. The NHL's top stacks, that main slate is a 5-game main slate on NHL. It locks at 7 o'clock. And then we did have for free the USC Pro Plays. That I think that MMA is not probably 2/3, 3/4 of the way done. I believe that locked at like 1:30 or 2 today. So it's been a busy day here. And again, if you get to those, get us to those 400 likes, or pardon me, 500 likes, we're almost there. You guys get to see my shirt. Here's the first. It's just flock. It's interesting. I'll have to see what are we talking about? Christmas trees? I don't know. Matt, if you had one favorite Awesemo tool, what would that be?
Easily the boom bust tool.
Boom bust?
Yeah.
Do you do the other sports as well? Have you done baseball with Awesemo tools?
I have not, because I have not been employed here while I was during baseball season. So I am excited.
Let me just say the top stacks tool for baseball will quickly become your favorite for this spring and summer. We do have baseball starting in about 3 weeks here. So keep your eyes out for that. We're going to be having a ton of baseball content. I think we have a collection of analysts that are second to none for that. Anything else that you want to cover on the guards here? Perhaps a Jalen Brunson, our cheapies or semi-cheapies, Halzino Neto, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Ish Smith, Lamar Stevens, Cody Martin. Those are kind of the DK discount dandies there. Austin Reeves. We're scraping the bottom of the barrel pretty quick.
Yeah, I think Jalen Brunson might be my favorite play of the day. 6,300 for him with no Spencer Dinwiddie it's a very good price tag. His production has been down recently of late. He's averaging just 0.76 DraftKings points per minute over the past month. But that number will certainly have to improve with their absences at the moment. And it's just a number that should be higher to begin with. He's averaging, a little bit under 1 fantasy point per minute for the year. So he's just in a little bit of a rough patch, but I expect him to bounce back. And again, this matchup for Dallas is about as good as it gets against Charlotte. So I really like this as a buy low spot for Brunson. And, speaking of the boom bust tool, we do have him as the highest leveraged guard on DraftKings today. So only a 28.5% ownership projection, but a 36% optimal lineup rate. You can use him at point guard or shooting guard. I think he is somebody that should be in more than half your lineups, we'll say.
All right, we'll use this moment here to, as we move between guard and forward, to talk about Gray's super chat here. He's asking for your favorite sub 10% owned play on FanDuel today. So I know you dabble on the blue side. I've got my DK stuff up here, but I will go look up FanDuel as well. So we're looking at sub 10%, and we want to say a fond farewell to Salad. He's going to be leaving. He's really not going to be leaving. He's going to watch this to the end, but he says he's leaving. So sub 10% play on FanDuel.
Sub 10% play on FanDuel. I will go with Ish Smith. How about Ish Smith? The price tag on FanDuel is not nearly as appealing as it is on DraftKings. He's 4,900. But him and Neto split the minutes pretty evenly. They're both similar per minute producers. So if one guy is going to check in with the majority of the ownership at the position, I think pivoting to the other makes a lot of sense. So I'll take Smith as my sub 10% play.
All right. If we get Killian Hayes out, then I would like Corey Joseph. He's 4,100. That becomes a nice point of savings there. He's 8%. I also, he's running a little high, but Montrezl Harrell is at 12.9, or he's at 13%, but he's just 4,300. We do have the center and power forward eligibility there. So he is someone to sort of keep an eye on from that standpoint. And then last but not least, your I was going to say long dart. You guys don't know what long darts are, because those were toys that were outlawed. We had them when I was kids. You basically had a metal pointed dart that you would throw, like what's that game they play? Like cornhole, except okay. It was a little hoop you put on the grass on each side, and you would throw these darts that they'd kill a couple kids every year. But yeah, it was the 70s, buyer beware. We didn't even have to wear seatbelts or bike helmets back then. So good times. But Kelly Olynyk is the long shot here. 3,800. That might be getting a little cute, but he is just 4% owned. We do know that he does have tournament winning upside. He needs about three things right for him to get to 25 minutes. And he really needs to get to 25 minutes. But at that point, 30, 35 fantasy points are in play. I see a few people know. Yeah, those were a lot of fun. Serious injuries were possible, says Tony Williams. Mike Yoakum says, those weren't on the market for long. Oh, they were so much fun.
That's what always I felt missing about my childhood games, the fear of death. I feel like that would have improved my life greatly.
You get Matt, you and your brother are arguing, go outside and play a game of lawn darts. It might as well be high noon, you're just sitting there at the OK Corral. But good times there. Caleb McCain says, there were no child games when I was a kid. We're talking about biblical times. Well, in between threshing the wheat and, turning water into wine and all that stuff. Yeah. We didn't have a lot of fun. We're at 18 likes away from seeing my shirt. My wife made this shirt for me. That should get the push over to 500. Let's get back on task here. We still have 32 minutes before tip off of one of our three games, but we're going to talk about forwards here as we break things down. We'll kind of go up to the top here. Kyle Kuzma, an intriguing option, particularly on DraftKings, 8,000. Let's go to Kristaps Porzingis. Do you feel he is likely to play on this back-to-back? And do you think 25 to 27 minutes is realistic? Since joining the Wizards, he sat out for between his time at Dallas until he played with Washington. He had about a 5-week break. In those games for Washington, starting with the first one, he has played 21, 26, 25, 27, 23 minutes, and then he played 29 last night against
I'm still
his
skeptical.
former team, right? That was against the Knickerbockers. That was a bit of a revenge moment, right?
Yeah, I'm still skeptical he suits up.
Yeah. If he's not starting, he's not playing. If he's active or available and not starting, get him the heck out of your lineups.
Right. What does Washington have to gain by playing him here? They're 5.5 games behind the 10th seeded Hornets. So any sort of, late season run at a play-in spot is just not happening. So it doesn't make sense to risk him. We know how fragile this guy is. I think that they ultimately decide to play it safe with him.
All right. You know what was not playing safe? Dirt Clod Wars. You guys had to have. I mean, dirt clods have been around since biblical times. You guys had those, didn't you?
Just throwing dirt at each other.
Yeah. Man, when it's really hard because it rained or whatever. Yeah, it's good times.
We didn't. I can't
Apple
say
Wars.
Yeah,
we grew up next to orchards. The best though were pears. You would take an arrow, yes, like an actual arrow, fiberglass, stick it in an apple, and then you could throw it like it was some highlight type thing. You keep those would hurt when they hit you. It was
I can imagine.
A lot of rough games. So I see we got to 500. So here's the moment. This is for Jordan Klein. This is in honor of Greg. You get to see my t-shirt here. Are you guys ready? And then we'll get back into the analysis. Hopefully this comes through. So this is, my wife made this for me for my birthday last spring. Flock, I'm 50. There you go. This is what you guys have to look forward to. Never get old. Never
Min
get
Chow
old.
says throwing dirt. How old is Emac?
Older than said dirt clots. All right. Let's see. We played rock, paper, scissors with real rocks and scissors. Close. We had some BB gun fights. You know, it was a different time back then. It was a different time. All right. Oh, Tyler McLaughlin. She missed a couple zeros. That hurt. Not so much here. Not so much here, but right here. All righty. Let's back to our forwards here. We've got. I agree with you. I don't really think Porzingis is going to play. I don't really think LeBron's going to play. We do have some multi-position eligibility. You've got Jeremy Grant coming back. He has not really had a fantasy relevant type game in quite some time. He has one game over 40 fantasy points, and that was 40.7 in his last, oh goodness, I didn't think it was that far back, basically since December 8th. Yikes. That's a long time. If you had me guess, I would say like 10 or 15 games, not since December 8th.
He's a bit more expensive than he usually is, right? Because that's the thing is you'll take, 30 to 35 DraftKings points if you're down priced closer to 6K. But today he's more like 7K against Cleveland. And he has been playing a ton of minutes. So that does give him some appeal, but I'm with you. I don't see a ton of ceiling here.
All right. A couple others. Sadiq Bey coming off a magnificent game there on our opening night of March Madness, where he was the only, or played in the only game, 10 of 14 from 3-point range. Don't think we're going to see that again, but he is coming off 78 fantasy points, 51 real points. You have Lauri Markkanen, who also had a good game last night. He ended up with playing 42 minutes. He had 31 points for, 60 fantasy points. Doubt we'll be seeing that anytime soon. However, with Jarrett Allen out, we are seeing some additional shots available to other members of the Cavaliers. And then we had Kevin Love play 31 minutes. While I don't think Kevin Love was going to sit out tonight on the back-to-back, I would be shocked if he plays over 25 minutes. In his previous games, 31, 17, 18, 34, 22, 15, 30, 26, 18, 26, 14. He doesn't play a ton of minutes. Might be a little tricky. We're going to need him to make all of his three-pointers tonight if he's going to be relevant. What do you like here from our mid-tier? There's really no high-end since we're saying we're skeptical of LeBron playing.
Well, I still think LeBron plays.
You do think he plays? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I got to say, I like this Cleveland front court tonight. You bring up an interesting point on Kevin Love, but they're pretty banged up, right? In addition to Jarrett Allen, they're not going to have Dean Wade again. And Dean Wade is somebody who has played a ton of minutes for them recently. So, I think Evan Mobley sees a ton of playing time. He's coming off almost 39 minutes. I think Markkanen plays a ton again. Maybe Love would be the most questionable of that trio, but I still don't think that they can afford to give him that much less than 30 minutes unless this game gets out of hand, right? If they thoroughly take care of the Pistons, then they can ease up with their guys a little bit. But this team is just kind of not that deep, right? And they're missing some key contributors. Rondo is doubtful. So I like going back to all those Cleveland big guys.
Yeah. And one thing to think about them, they're just one game ahead of Toronto away from slipping into the play-in tournament. So they're ranked sixth right now, or they have the sixth best record in the East right now. So that's a tenuous spot. And that's for them, I think getting into the playoffs will be a little bit better. So I think this is most definitely for them a winnable game. I could see them maybe, if they're down 15 going into the fourth quarter, I could see them just say, you know what, we're going to just bench everybody, hockey line change, and play the next game, only because they've had two overtime games in the last 5 days now. So that's just the one concern. Anything else from the bottom of the list here? Rui Hachimura, perhaps?
Yeah, the Wizards are interesting, right? I mean, they have all these guys that are priced in that, low 4K range, high 3K range. And it does make sense. If we don't think Porzingis is going to play, that's going to be a boost in minutes for, a good handful of these players. And Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is questionable. So if we take out Porzingis and KCP, then this becomes chalk that I don't think you can get away from. But, like the Denny Avdias, the Rui Hachimuras, the Corey Kisperts of the world.
Oh, you had to say Corey Kispert.
They're just so pedestrian on a per minute basis that if the team has KCP and let's say Porzingis does suit up, I am more than comfortable being underweight on the whole group of them.
Right. Caleb McCain says, asks me, what were woolly mammoths like? Hey, let's be nice. Let's be nice. Watch it now. Watch it. Woolly bully, like Sam the Sheriff, Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs. You know that song, Woolly Bully.
Oh, I know Woolly Bully. I had never heard of the band before.
Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs. Doesn't everybody know that? No?
I don't think so, sir.
Do you know who sang 96 Tears?
I don't know what 96 Tears is.
Oh, if you heard the song, you would know. I believe it was the question mark or something like that. The song was going to be 69 Tears, but they felt that wouldn't work on the radio back then. So they changed it to 96 Tears. Okay, we're good. Anything else here from forwards? We're going to have time to look at a little prize picks pre-lock.
Yeah, I mean, we got news that Maxi Kleber, I believe, is going to start. I think I saw that earlier. That definitely, to me, makes him more appealing than all the Washington pivots or all the Washington value. Kleber hasn't been great recently, but he's at 0.79 DraftKings points per minute on the year. If we get him up around 30 minutes, I think that gives us a great chance of returning value.
They're saying question mark in the Mysterians. That sounds familiar. SW says, hey, EMAC, retired guy here, 55, from HR or former HR guy, playing DFS almost full time. And I shot my sister in the ass with a BB gun when she was playing hopscotch in 1974.
There you go.
That wasn't the only one. That wasn't the world was. We didn't have paint guns back then. We had to improvise. Just be glad we used the 22s on bottles and cans instead of each other. So, all right, let's do centers, and then we'll take questions. We'll look at some of the prize picks, and then we're going to stay on for an extra 30 minutes on prize picks. That'll give us some time to walk through and look at their college plays as well as some of their NBA plays. The one nice thing about prize picks is you can play there because they don't lock their picks for about 10 minutes, because that's what the NBA games usually start 10 to 12 minutes after the announced time. So you have time to close down or upload your DFS lineups, and then you got 10 minutes to hop over there if there's anything you want to see on the early games. They also have second half games. You can do same game cards. The only rule is you cannot use the same player on the same card more than once, and you do need players representing at least two teams. That's it. Pretty straightforward. You can play 2, 3, 4, or 5 cards. The more questions on your card, the more questions that you have, the bigger your payout is. You can also play their flex cards, which means if you are playing a pick 5 and you choose the flex option, if you get 3 right, you still get 40% of your money back. If you get 4 right, you double it, and if you get all 5 right, you 5x. So that's pretty cool. All right, centers. Some familiar names here: LeBron James, Kristaps Porzingis, Evan Mobley. Haven't really hit on Mobley. What are your thoughts on him? Is he kind of leading the way towards Rookie of the Year?
Definitely. I mean, he's become a monster favorite. I don't know if he's necessarily deserves to be that big of a favorite. I don't think he's been like markedly better than a guy like Scotty Barnes, say. But
10x when you get 5 right. My bad. 10x, guys.
I think just given the way Cleveland started the year, it became such a narrative that, Evan Mobley is the Rookie of the Year. This team is a real threat in the Eastern Conference. And as the year has progressed, both of those statements have kind of come back to reality. So, I really like Mobley. I think he leads the way for me in that Cavs front court that I've been kind of bullish on here. 47 DraftKings points or more in 2 of his last 3. He's played at least 38 minutes and change in 3 of his last 4. Winnable matchup here versus Detroit. And again, no Jared Allen, no Dean Wade. So I'm expecting all of these forwards for the Cavaliers to play a lot.
All right. Looking. Marvin Bagley, Isaiah Stewart, PJ Washington. We've got Maximilian Kleber again, Montrezl Harrell, Dwight Powell. So Dwight Powell's kind of interesting. I do not expect a 50 fantasy point game like he had was that a week ago or so that he had that? It was last Friday.
8 days ago. 8 days ago against the Rockets.
And it's taken him in his last 3 games to basically get 55 fantasy points. But he is a little bit discounted-ish, 4,600. He is center only. That makes it a little trickier on DK. Would you look to go to him as a direct leverage play off of Kleber? You're spending 700 more.
It's an interesting pivot. I think I still prefer Kleber at the discounted price tag. I mean, we're looking at 2 players who are pretty similar. If you take that explosion game from Powell out of the mix, it's a lot of low 20s types of games. So I'll just take the discounted price tag. But I do expect Kleber to have higher ownership, but I think I'm okay with that.
All right. See Marquise Chris, Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard has played in just 1 back-to-back game of the last 3 possible. I want to say it was in early December. He's, I'm sure, rested enough that he could play in the back-to-backs. If King James is not in, it wouldn't shock me if we do get to see Dwight Howard. But if he's not in the starting lineup, I would not feel comfortable going with him. Who else caught my eye there? That's about it. Carmelo Anthony also center eligible on DK at 5,000. It's kind of a meh play, but he was been out for a non-COVID related illness, but he's someone who could score against the Wizards. He's mostly scoring dependent at this point of his career.
No love for Wenyen?
I keep staring at the name and I'm like, why? I can't get there. Yeah, 26 DraftKings points last night. Okay, does he need to start for you to play him?
No, I don't think he needs to start because, again, I'm not expecting him to play more than 20 minutes or so. But given what you said about Howard, if we're not expecting Dwight Howard to play, I think that could potentially give him a boost. So I think he's interesting at the minimum. This is a slate where there are some value options, but there's nobody at like that true minimum price, right? And I think Wenyen is one of those guys that, like his ceiling is probably something like 10x tonight.
Why does he have an injury? Oh, he is in. Okay. He was a sore ankle on an earlier injury report, but he is going to be in. One person we missed, and I was under the impression I wasn't expecting him to play, but Karis LeVert. So Awesemo is projecting him for 30, just shy of 30 fantasy points. It is a back-to-back. He has played some back-to-backs, but in his last 3 games since sitting out for a month, he played 25, 25, and 29 minutes. It's surprising that he's not on the injury report. However, because they are on the back-to-back, I don't think they were required to post one of the earlier ones. I guess if he's starting, we should assume 25 to 27 minutes.
Yeah, and I think, again, it's kind of like a LeBron situation for the Cavaliers. They'd probably love to rest LeVert here, but they don't have that luxury at this point. They are, in a fight for that last guaranteed playoff spot. And when you have a team like Detroit coming into your building, that is a must-win game when you're, when every win matters. So I think that they are going to give this game maximum attention, despite the, large workload that some of these guys have played recently.
So let's look at their upcoming schedule real quick here. So they play tonight, obviously. Monday, they host the Lakers, and then they're off until Thursday. So they do kind of have some upcoming rest, and those are two winnable games, Detroit and LA. They're going to Toronto to play Thursday. Then they're back home for a Saturday game against Chicago, a Monday against Orlando, a Wednesday against Dallas. So they do have their games spaced out after this one. So unless it's one where if they were coming in fresh, I'd lean towards the higher end of their minutes projections. If somehow Toronto or Detroit has their shot falling or lucks into whatever and is ahead, not just keeping it close, but ahead, I could see them losing out on the fourth quarter. But that's a couple things that have to go right before that, or wrong in our case, before that happens. I don't think we'll see maximum minutes from everybody, but they should maybe hit the low end of their projected range. So.
Yeah,
we have to parse these things down to the incredible nuance on these short slates. No stone unturned, right?
Yeah, I can't start factoring in what happens if Detroit blows this team out into my projections at this point. That's just not.
That's not a checkbox. No.
No.
All right. So let's see here. Anything else you wanted to hit on? And chat, if you got some questions, go ahead and throw those in. We are staying on for extra half hour to talk about Prize Picks. Reminder, if you do deposit there, use the promo code Awesemo. They will match you up to your first $100. That money comes out of your account first into the contest. And when you sign up using the promo code Awesemo, we will also get you 30 free days of Awesemo premium content. Our $90 value, their $100 value. That's like winning a little GPP. Just to deposit $100 doesn't mean you have to spend it all. Not a bad way to go. Not a bad way to go. Anything else here, Matt?
Yeah, I think PJ Washington is another guy with center eligibility that I like tonight.
Would you do any rules around PJ, Montrezl, and Plumlee?
Yeah, for sure. I don't think that you play them in the same lineup.
Would you put Kelly Olynyk in there as well and say a max 2 of that 4? Just because he needs things to go break his way before he gets more than 22 minutes.
Yeah, I would probably
like making all his shots and somebody else.
If I could put in a rule where Kelly Olynyk only comes in on nights where he shoots over 60%, then we're talking. Until then, I don't know if I can really factor in any Kelly Olynyk rules. You kind of just have to plug.
Oh, sorry, I meant Kelly Oubre.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry. Makes a lot more sense. Yeah, I was wondering. Well,
it's a double KO night. Come on. In honor of MMA, it's a double KO.
The Washington has been interesting because he's been playing a good handful of minutes recently, but the per minute efficiency has been down. Right, he is down to 0.76 DraftKings points per minute over the past month. That is well below what he has averaged this season. But he did bounce back in his last game. He got to 30.75 over 25 minutes and change. So if we think he gets to 30 minutes or so tonight, I think he has a good chance to pay off 5,200. If the per minute efficiency comes back to what it's been earlier in the year, we could be looking at close to 30 fantasy points.
All right. Reminder, the main slate ownership projection just updated, and that is free tonight for all of you. Let me drop that link into the chat, but I'm sure you guys are enterprising enough to figure out how you can find it yourself. Notice I didn't include the ladies in that because I know they know how to find it. The guys, we need a little help. All right. Let's see. What do we have here for some questions coming in? Nothing crazy. Would you play LeBron and Luka in the same lineup? Absolutely. We haven't had the raw points speech yet, but short slates, you want to get the raw points any way you can, as long as LeBron is starting. It makes sense. He's going to project as one of the 3 highest point scorers tonight. Luka's number 1.
Yeah, and there's more than enough value to make that lineup happen pretty easily, right? You pair those 2 guys on DraftKings, you're still left with almost 4,500 per player. We've touched on a bunch of guys who are, in that 4K or less range. I think that it's not just doable, it's preferred in my eyes.
All right. And then, of course, because there are 2/3 of our player pool doesn't lock until 8 o'clock. If something happens with the later game where Kristaps is out, or perhaps LeBron sits or something like that, there's going to be plenty of pivots everywhere. We probably won't be locking more than 3 or 4 spots from this first game at the most. So you'll definitely be able to spend your whole salary. That sometimes is a risk if there's a lone island game, like the Lakers are at home and something happens. You're like, I have money for Westbrook, but I only have LeBron not in a guard slot tonight or utility. So I'm in trouble. But those things should not be too much of an issue here. Let's scroll back down. Who is the pivot if Porzingis sits? Would you go towards, this is a spending money question. If Porzingis is out, would you look towards Kuzma, Garland, or Mobley as your preferred choice of those 8 o'clock players?
Well, I think that Kuzma and Mobley are the easier pivots. They're closer in salary and they play the same position as Porzingis. So I would say that Kuzma definitely gets the biggest direct bump if Porzingis is out. The usage goes up, the minutes likely go up. We saw a stretch where Kuzma was playing, post Spencer Dinwiddie trade, but before Porzingis returned to the lineup, and he was a nightly threat for 50 plus fantasy points. So if Porzingis is out, I have Kuzma as the clear preferred pivot for me.
All right. We get a super chat here from Olrat. It says Powell and Gabriel or Kleber and Gafford. This is DK Cash.
DK Cash. I will take
Powell and Wenyen. Kleber.
I think I'll take the Wenyen Gabriel side. It feels weird to say that Wenyen Gabriel is a cash viable play, but he has scored at least 14.5 in 3 straight games. He's priced at the minimum. I think that he is a slightly safer option than Gafford, whose minutes have been down and who hasn't been nearly as productive. So I'll take the Wenyen Gabriel side.
I am getting a boatload. I just ran I capped it at 70. I caught more or less an unencumbered crunch here. Porzingis is just flying off our board right now.
If he plays, he's hard not to like at 7,500. I'm skeptical. I know he's not on the injury report. We're kind of reading between the tea leaves here, but I just don't see the reason to play him.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. Well, I may have to influence that just a little bit. I'm gonna make this visible. Kishan Moody, you guys are idiots. Porzingis has been available for 2 hours. The injury designation is gone. Be quiet. I'm going to sanitize that a little bit with the if Porzingis is out. Okay. So you want to bet your life that Porzingis is going to play. Right. We're talking about contingencies. It's Saturday in the NBA. You know what's the only thing crazier than a Saturday in the NBA? A Sunday in the NBA.
I mean, it's not even that he's been removed from the injury report. If he was on the injury report and then got removed, that's different than him just never being listed, which is what we're talking about.
Right.
So I get it. If you feel comfortable with him,
roll with it.
More power to you. But we're just talking it out right now. We have an hour to talk about 3 games.
Yeah. You know what we should talk more about? The chance of LeBron James waiting to get that record in Cleveland on Monday. And it's not even a record. He could pass Karl Malone for where 3rd or 4th or 5th on the all-time scoring list, whatever it is. I don't know. Second, Jordan, are you sad? I mean, Karl Malone, former Laker Karl Malone.
Karl Malone is 2, and Kareem is well in his sights now.
All right.
So
Adiyogi, don't respond to idiots. No, it's a good point. These are learning moments here. And you know what? We're going to be wrong a lot on these shows. You know, it takes a lot to come on here, state your opinion, know you've got about a 60-40, 65-35 chance of being right. We hope it happens more often than not, but that means we're going to be wrong quite a bit. And then taking your lumps and saying, yeah, that's how I read the slate. I'm transparent about it. And I got my teeth kicked in. Guess what? It shows in my bankroll as well, because we play. Not every tout out there plays, I've learned recently. Isn't that weird? Shouldn't you play if you're?
I would think yes, but
I don't know. I don't know. All right. We've got 4 minutes. I guess let me run a crunch here. Are your lineups uploaded? Because I should upload.
Yes, I am good.
You are locked and loaded. I, of course, have 3 minutes and 52 seconds. Fortunately, I'm only playing on one side. Sadly, there is 1/3 of our player pool is locking right now. But I did run that preliminary crunch, and I can quickly come in, see who I was getting 70% of. And it's a lot of players I don't want. It's like KCP. So we'll knock him down to 40. We will also knock Porzingis down to 40. And we're just going to let the rest of this fly. Because you know what? We live on the edge here. Shall we do 80 lineups tonight?
Works for me.
Right. I've got my floor set at 260 points. So this worked out. Looks like I'm going to be getting a boatload of Maximilian Kleber. I am looking at 87% of Luka Doncic. I'm comfortable with that. Where did you end up with Luka?
I have him at about 80%.
All right. And then my number one play, or not number one, but close to number one play, Denny Avdia is 70% in my lineups.
Okay. Yeah, I think
a little aggressive,
again,
but
I'm going to be a little bit less bullish on some of these Washington players, but if KCP gets ruled out, I will try to get them all pushed up with, in between the hour between the first start time and the tip off for that game.
All right, I'm going to run it. I'm going to cut it down to 75%, Lucas. 73%. That feels a little bit better. Ooh, Sabian Lee, 55%. Sometimes when you do this, you have unintended consequences.
Yeah, that's way too much Sabian Lee.
We'll be correcting that, but just please tell me that's the late game.
It's one of the two. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So let me just get this uploaded. I just need a fighting chance, right? You just need something to break for you, and then it all works out. There we go. All right, I'm good to go. I had a great afternoon hockey slate, so I'm all good with that. The last 10 minutes of every next show is the greatest 10 minutes. It's more like the last 4 minutes, because that's usually when I realize, oh, this could be an upload error. And I heard Rinpack talking about upload errors. That's a new hitch in my swing. Is that what we say? That I do all the player pool, get everything loaded into the CSV, save the CSV, and then I close it out. I forget to upload it. Multiple times in the last.
That's not going to work for you.
How do I not upload? Because I'm distracted or doing something. Because I'm 50. I'm old.
You're flocking 50.
I'm flocking 50. But you know what? We got 30 minutes here to talk about prize picks. Now we are going to have some fun. Where are we on the likes? Ooh, only 540. We said 600 to get the free betting picks there, one from Alex and one from Ben Rasa. But in the meantime, we are going to talk about prize picks. It is a player prop site. So for those of you that are not able to get sports wagering in your state, this is a nice replacement. It's pretty realistic. It's player prop parlay cards. You have to create a card with 2, 3, 4, or 5 questions on there. You choose the over or the under, and it runs from there. You want to look at the best win percentage for these bets on OddsShopper. You don't need to screw around with the ROI, because there is no rake, vig, etc. on price picks. It is implied with where they are setting the line. But you want to look at the lines, and you want to look at the better win percentage if you're utilizing the free OddsShopper tools. And also free, if you go to the Awesemo page, hover over the NBA, go to projections and rankings, and then scroll down. We have the free NBA player prop tool available over there on Prize Picks for you. It looks like it is loaded tonight with all 3 games. So I'm going to pull up Prize Picks here. Let's make a parlay card. They are eligible in Virginia, which makes it fun. Not every website or not every DFS site's in Virginia. They have to pay, I forget, like 50,000 or 100,000 to be licensed. So It's an interesting way to go. All right. So we've got some college basketball going on. Let's look at the NBA real quick, though. Luka Doncic, 31.5 points. How are you feeling about that one?
Wow, that's a big number.
It's a very big number, but no Dinwiddie. We've also got him at 8.5 rebounds, 9 assists, or 49 on the rebound, 49.5 on the rebounds, points, and assist combo.
How about I think I would be more willing to take the over on just 56 fantasy points if I was willing to bet an over on Doncic. I don't know if you necessarily need to. These lines all seem
pretty appropriate.
Pretty efficient in my opinion. Maybe the rebounds might be a smidge low. He's always a threat to go double digits on the glass. But yeah, I think again, this matchup versus Charlotte is just a huge pace up spot. I don't know if that's really been talked about or because you look at the Vegas line, right? Dallas is implied for 110.25 points. That's not like a huge number. It's not a number that jumps off the page, but this is a team that routinely plays in really low scoring type games. So I do think Luka has more upside than usual. And I would probably lean over on the fantasy points if I was going to take a Doncic over.
All right. I'm going to go with the rebounds. He's averaging 9.3 rebounds per game this year. Awesemo, I don't have our pulled up, but we had him for 9.9 when I wrote my article earlier today. So it's a touch aggressive, but the pace up spot. Now, what we mean by that is Charlotte over their last 10 games is really kind of playing it at a league average pace with league average defense. But Dallas plays quite slow, as Matt pointed out, one of the slowest teams in the league. So pretty much any matchup they're in that a team is like 10 or 12 spots higher than them in the ranking, or in this case, about half a dozen possessions per game, that does equate to a pace up spot for them. Probably gives them about, just math in my head, maybe 3 possessions more than they would normally get, maybe 4. So, when we get down to basketball, we're looking at all of the little angles and nuances, but I do like that one. Is anything standing out for you? We've got the Montrezl Harrell rebounds under. I don't really like doing the unders. I'm going to take the Russell Westbrook rebound over. It's 6. We have him for 6.8, but Russell Westbrook, pretty solid rebounder. He has been hovering in that close to 6 to 8. Now, PrizePicks just displays their last 5 games, but if you go back over his last 10 games, he's had a few more in that list that have gone closer to 6, if not a little over. So I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah, I think the LeBron rebounding over looks pretty enticing to me as well. Okay. We have him projected for 9.2 boards, and the line is 7.5. So he should be able to hit an over there. I think Kyle Kuzma is someone that I am going to be exposed to in the player prop market to get today. Again, I am operating under the assumption that Porzingis, maybe even if he does play, is limited. Okay. That's just my assumption. Don't shoot the messenger. But I think that impacts Kuzma. It's a hashtag revenge game if you're into that sort of thing, but
we are, and our audience is.
But Kuzma's just been playing some really good basketball for the Wizards. Yeah. And this is a spot where he can do some things, right? The Lakers have routinely been getting their teeth kicked in defensively. So I have no problem backing Kuzma. We have the over on his assist prop with the best.
Would you go assists today, or rebounds? I was looking at his rebound numbers.
Yeah, I like rebounds, I think, more, but we have assists graded higher. I also wouldn't have a problem with points, to be 100% honest with you. Like, I think he's just a nice over candidate today.
So in that case, would you look at the RPA, or I call it the RPA, the PRA, points, rebounds, plus assists? So that's coming in at 32.5.
Right. The line is 32.5. I think, he can definitely get to the over on that.
All right. So I'm going to choose that one just because it gives a couple more ways to get there. I only have 4. We've got 5 minutes till one of my picks locks. Let's look at college basketball real quick. So again, I reminded you guys that we do have this over on Odds Shopper. So I'm going to go to Odds Shopper. I'm going to sort by projected win. Excellent point. I thought I was losing my mind. I see that Ben P said he drove it over to Virginia to make some player prop bets on college basketball and couldn't find them. They aren't here in Virginia. I was looking at my phone and just thought I had a bad phone setting because normally I look on my computer, but I couldn't find them either. But maybe that makes sense. Maybe college player props are not allowed here in Virginia. Game props certainly are, but that's an interesting thing. So fortunately, we can get these over on the Prize Picks here. Let's see if we've got a good one. Audis Tony going against New Mexico State, 75% chance for him to clear 4.5 rebounds. Let's look and see what his Prize Picks. No, he's not on Prize Picks. So let's scroll down and see who else we can find that is good. Landers Nolly versus Gonzaga points. We have him for almost 14. He is also not on there. I'm not going to say a name until I find them on here. There we go. DeAndre Williams rebounds 5.5. We're looking at the under. That doesn't. Who wants to bet unders? I do want to bet the over on his points, though. So they don't have points here on price. Oh, they do it 10.5. Wow, that's an aggressive one because they're smart over here on Prize Picks because his points on Caesars right now is 5.5. So you can just do some quick line shopping here. And this is something that you want to look at and understand that there are a variety of different places you can take advantage of this on. And Prize Picks clearly is one of them. Okay. UMUD, right? That's probably not how you spell his name, but he's not on there either. Killing me here. Jabari Rice. There we go. 10.5 points. We have him for 13.4. I'm taking the over. That gives me a card locking in 3 minutes of Doncic over 8.5 rebounds. Westbrook over 6 rebounds. LeBron over 7.5 rebounds. Kuzma 32.5 over on the points, rebounds, and assists. And then Jabari Rice. New Mexico State versus Arkansas. Or is it Arkansas? Let's put 5 on there to win 50. And boom, just like that, we have some fun. That's the easy thing about Prize Picks.
I mean,
reminder, they go up to the tip off of the game, so you can go finish your DFS stuff. You can slide over to Prize Picks and make some wagers. They have second half NBA contests, and I believe they had some second half college basketball last night. Yep, they have second half college basketball up there right now. You also get women's college basketball. They have a variety of they have NBA first half projections up there tonight. They don't always have NBA first half, but they also have soccer, NCAA baseball, NHL, MLB futures bets, NFL futures bets. So I've gone in and done a few of those during the All-Star break. They did games remaining and NBA players futures bets for their stats. So they got a lot of unique ways to make this very, very, very much like a sports book, which is great in the states where sports wagering is not legalized. Gonzaga going down tonight? I hope not. I was with the masses that chose. You got to rep Washington State, my homies. I was at that game in 1999 when they upset Stanford and started this whole thing. That game was in Key Arena, which no longer exists, in Seattle. It's a fun time. A lot of beers were consumed that day. That was, oh my God, how many years ago was that? Was Jordan Klein alive in 1999?
He's saying no.
You had to be, Jordan.
Come on, Jordan.
Jordan. Oh, okay.
All right. Thank you. Thank goodness.
Because otherwise, I'm going to have to say Mother Flocker on 50 instead of just Flock on 50.
Hey, are you interested in any of the ownerships from the early game?
Why, yes, absolutely.
So this is from the $300K tournament on DraftKings, the $15 entry. Doncic, 60% roughly. Kleber checked in at 42%.
Wow.
Brunson at just under 40%.
Okay.
Mason Plumlee, who we didn't really talk about, 21.5%. LaMelo is at 19, Powell 18.5, DFS at 15, and then Scary Terry at 12. And those are the only players that are over double digits.
Interesting. So Doncic, I ended up at 73. Brunson, I ended up at 73. Kleba, I ended up with 67. Guess where I set my player cap at? So I'm riding hard with those decisions. I will have to spread this out a little bit because I don't have any Russell Westbrook. I didn't get to any Rozier. I've got basically to no Detroit players, etc. So other than Saban Lee. Very sad.
Yeah, I ended up being I don't want to say like super heavy, but I'm definitely overweight on PJ Washington, who only checked in again at less than 10% ownership. I feel pretty good about that, honestly.
All right, we got about 20 more minutes here. So we'll quickly remind everybody this last half hour, in addition to the whole 2.5 hours, has been sponsored by PrizePicks. So it's a lot of fun. We'll talk about them. Want to remind you that you can get all of the Awesemo content by getting the Awesemo weekly pass. It is just $29.95. That gets you access to literally all the sports, all the sites. You get the Boom Bust tool, the lineup builder, and much, much more. If you're looking for just NBA DFS, looking for an affordable option, $4.95 weekly is the NBA Express package. You get player rankings, player ownership rankings. So basically it just tiers everything for you. Once you figure out who the top 6, 7, 8 guys are on an NBA slate, the rest of it is kind of neutral at that point, unless you're a very heavy gamer. And at that point, you might as well just get the full package. But Alex himself said he wanted to give away some of the tools for a significant discount, so people that were casual players could pop in, make a couple lineups, just so you have a fighting chance, watch something after you get the kids to bed, etc. So that is the Awesemo Express package. And then a reminder for everybody, we're starting this off all over tomorrow at 10 a.m. You get the Sunday strategy show for NBA with Laffy and Josh Engelman. Of course, we get some NHL strategy show, and then you're going to get college basketball live before lock for Sunday's NCAA tournament. How are your brackets doing?
Absolutely terrible.
Yes.
Which terrible.
I had Kentucky losing to Gonzaga in the chalk finals.
I had Kentucky in the finals, and I had Iowa also in my final four. So, yeah, rough in these streets.
A little bit rough. All right. Well, that's okay.
It's fair, though. I think I've watched 3 college basketball games all year. Like, it's just not my sport. I do this just for fun. I fill out my brackets purely off gut instinct.
That's generally what I do as well, because I played one on the DK Onyx. Boom. Looks like everybody's going to win in that one. That's a fun one. And then I did the Awesemo YouTube chat challenge. I'm not doing well in either. I think I had like 4. I was trying to go by memory when I set them up. I think I had like 4 or 5 differences. Mostly were just minor games. I think my final 4 and my finals ended up the same. So, oh well, Kentucky continuing my streak of losing at least one Final Four team on in the round of 64 for 5 years in a row now. That's why I only make one bracket, because we have college basketball DFS. We have college basketball wagering. Here's an interesting thought. So because I had Kentucky going all the way, it makes sense tonight for me to pick, is it Murray State that's going against whoever beat Kentucky?
St. Peter's.
That makes sense to do a money line bet on them to sort of hedge out my value, because if the Cinderella story continues, I don't care, because now that whole Murray State crew is done, in addition to all of the Kentucky people being done, right?
The problem is that nobody picked St. Peter's. So it's not like
no. I'm saying close that off, because in this channel, or I want the other brackets to get knocked out, or where I want them to die on the vine as well, where mine have lost, because then people can't get the next round points. And it's all about exactly what happens.
I just don't think that there's anybody out there that has Murray State or St. Peter's going.
Oh, you're saying the Murray State.
So
gotcha.
Whoever wins, nobody's getting
that part is neutral.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a request in chat from longtime fervent viewer Stephen Leibovitz. He would like to have LaMarca announce LeBron James' name.
Oh, you mean LeBron James?
I love when you do that on the shows as well. May I ask what that is from?
It's just like a vine or something of this kid that that's how he said his name. And he just kept going, LeBron James, LeBron James. And so now that's the only way that I can possibly say his name.
This is so good. This is I think you should be required to say that every single show. Every single show. Flex 305 says you can have his girl. Look at that. Just that syrupy LeBron James. I can't even do it.
That was pretty good.
Carlos Manzo says he thought it was from a song. I had no idea what it was. I thought it was maybe a movie or something, but there we go. All right. So you know what is fun? So we're going to quickly look at ESPN. So because you had mentioned that you did not think many people had Murray State, we can go over and we can see a reasonable instance of where the public went. Because if I can find it, who picked whom? And this is fun. I'm going to drop this into the YouTube chat as well. And this is something ESPN has done forever because I've been gaming over there for, dear God, almost 30 years now. But they list out who everybody picked, and you can see, and they take this from all of their brackets. So Murray State in round 1, 68% to win. Round 2, you are correct, just 10%, because it looks
that's still more than I would have thought.
Well, Kentucky was 83%.
Okay.
Baylor had 76% of the people had Baylor advancing. So there's I
want to meet the 2% of people that had St. Peter's going to the Sweet 16.
It's 0.01 actually on this, and I believe it's probably the family of the players that chose that. Murray State was only 0.02%. Here's a different way to frame it. This is how chalky Gonzaga was at 27%. There were only 6 teams that were higher than 5%. All the number 1 seeds, Kentucky and Duke. That's it to win it all. So the leverage would be to not have picked Gonzaga.
Yeah,
literally gone anywhere else.
I didn't do, but I didn't realize Arizona was going to be so popular. They were my team that I chose.
13%. Yeah.
Yeah. So and if you were going for leverage, I didn't do a particularly good job.
I didn't even think about that because I wasn't going to do the bracket until they texted me about it. I'm like, oh, well, yes. I apparently on DK, I now have a guy that texts me if I don't enter promotions, Jordan. I won for my wife, I won a Garmin New View or View Me or something. Yeah, a wristwatch. Or I don't know. It's like I have a Fitbit, but it was like some $350 thing that I won. This is not bad. You got player promotions, player points, perks. You know this. You got all the sign up stuff in New York. This is important stuff.
Oh yeah.
To talk about this.
Oh yeah. And honestly, like, not to flex on anybody, but when I go out to Vegas, I have like a casino host, and it just makes you feel special. You know?
Yeah. And again, this is just. You guys see me. I goof around and do all the points and milestones and all that, the crowns and what have you. But they all added up last year, and they changed this stuff. So that's been kind of fun. A smartwatch. Thank you, God. I couldn't think of the name of that. How brutal is that? I'll just call everything a Fitbit or an Apple Watch now. I just got the Fitbit 5 for those wondering. I'd been on the Fitbit 2 for about 5 years. So. All right, prize picks. Let's look here at some of our later contests.
Can I do the Greg Ehrenberg segment though first?
Oh, absolutely.
First 5 minutes.
Yes.
We've got a 19-4 Charlotte lead. 19-4. Safe. So
they benched all the starters.
Safe to say that if you played any Mavericks tonight, you're drawing absolutely dead. Might as well go to bed now. Jalen Brunson, 2 points and a turnover. Luka is in the negatives, EMAC, through 5 minutes. No stats except for 1 turnover.
I need that little where the guy throws his computer out the window.
Yeah. Luckily, our good pal Maxi Kleba is coming through at least minimally. He's got 2 points, a steal, and a board through his
look at
first
that.
5 minutes.
It's the hustle and helper stats. That's what we need to see. Eric Lindquist wants you to know that you're amazing, and he'd like to go to Vegas with you soon.
Me?
Yes.
It's honestly, I would love to go to Vegas with anybody, first of all, but I think it would just be fun to get out on the left coast. I want to spend some time with Jordan and Eric. I feel like that would be a wild night. I don't know. Hopefully I could keep up, in my old age, but I think I could throw it back for one weekend.
I was in Nashville for 3 days and I had 3 beers. Woo! I did eat all of the food though, and had hot chicken for the first time. So there we go. I can't remember.
Got hot chicken in Vegas.
Hattie B's. That's where we went. Well, I'm not into super spicy stuff, but for the number of times I've been to Nashville, I can't believe I've never had Nashville hot chicken. So I got the mild, which to me was relatively spicy. It was actually pretty good. I didn't know what to expect at all. Basically, it was chicken tenders that they sort of put on bread with whatever hot sauce you have. The one of our users, J187, I was out there with, or JA187, I was out there with him, and he got like the habanero hot, and then he went back after I'd left a couple days later, and then went one step up, he said. He was barely even sipping from his water when we were sitting there eating them. It's just like, you got this 6 levels hotter than I did. You're doing that as I'm dabbing my brow with sweat. Hey, Doncic made a layup there.
There you go, Luka.
There we go. Adam said he didn't recognize you in Nashville first. Well, we were in the airport, so we had our masks on. And I intentionally did that. Shocker, spoiler alert. I came across Adam and the Siege at the airport lounge drinking a beer.
Did he have his socks out? That's a dead giveaway for when you see the Siege in the wild.
No, he did not.
Okay.
He did not. But he did have a green polo shirt on, though.
There you go. That's the other one.
I did not. I have one of me and Jake. Well, I see Adam a lot. Why would I need a photo with Adam? I know what he looks like.
Phone background.
Oh, you really do use my picture on your phone. Wow. So for those of you that don't know, I have another fun shirt that I'll wear on the next show. I replace Greg Ehrenberg on, but Jordan is using that as his phone background. I thought he was joking, but no, sounds like he really is. All right. What is the ownership for Okoro? Did he log?
No, that's one of the 8:00 games. Right. I would say 15% tops. Nobody likes playing Isaac Okoro. But nobody.
We have free Awesemo ownership projections, so I will drop that into chat so you guys can check across all the sites yourselves. Good times. Good times. All right. So back to a little prize picks action here. Let's do one more NBA. Let's go look over here because we do have the Awesemo NBA prize picks update. So we're looking, we did the LeBron rebounds, the Westbrook rebounds. You did the LeBron and Westbrook rebounds. We already did those.
Oh, LeBron James.
On one of our cards. LeBron. Yes. I'm sorry. What did you say?
LeBron James.
There we go. I need to make that a ringtone. That would be very fun. Jordan, you should make that your ringtone on the phone where I am the background. Jordan is never going to get away from us. So looking a little lower down here, Evan Mobley, they have the under for his points. The prop line is 17.5. We have the under at or we're projecting him for just under 16. Do you ever go with under very often?
Oh, I would say I bet more unders than overs. Historically, unders are the more profitable side because nobody likes to bet them, right? It's boring. You don't want to watch basketball games and root for players not to do things. So unders are historically the preferred side. I just don't feel great about that particular under on Mobley. If I was to pick one here, I will take the under on 17.5 points for Saddiq Bey. I think it's a good time to sell low on Saddiq. It's actually 16.5 on Prize Picks. That line's a little sharper. So unfortunately, I'm going to retract my statement. If you can get 17.5, though, that's an under I like.
And that actually makes sense. And this is one way you can kind of hedge some of your DFS. Like if I were to find something on Saban Lee where I wanted to take it, if I had Saddiq Bey in 70% of my lineups, perhaps I wouldn't mind throwing him in one of my player cards here, because that would be one way to take advantage of a poor performance on someone that you're overweight on. You're really not, it's like a little bit of insurance. The DFS it's a self-contained game. The only difference in it is what the player ownerships are for what you have versus the field, and then what mix you happen to have in the lineup that may break free. You can look at them entirely separately when you start looking at props, when you start looking at late slates, when you start looking at showdown slates, et cetera. You have to take each game self-contained within itself. So you can end up taking positions that seem in effect to be opposite of each other and not working in correlation, but they actually can if certain results play out. That's that next levels. And it doesn't really work in every situation. You don't want to say, you need to find a prop that seems reasonable. And then you're starting to second guess the outcome of what you're thinking in this over here. Maybe you want to just cover a few bases over there. Have you enjoyed
back to the well with Lauri Markkanen? One last prop.
One last time.
Lauri Markkanen over 15.5 points. I haven't checked that one on Odd Chopper, so I'm flying solo on this one. But again, I like this Cleveland front court tonight against the Pistons. I think they're going to have to play minutes with no Dean Wade and no Jared Allen and now no Rajon Rondo. And Markkanen, he's coming off of a huge game. So the natural tendency is to kind of say probably a regression spot, but he can have plenty of regression from scoring, 30 points and still hit the over on 15.5. So that's the last prop I'm going with tonight.
Just seeing. So we have him right at 15.5. So
I'm fine with taking the over. We're riding solo. This is the Matt LaMarca special tonight.
Okay. That's the conviction play. Love it. Love it. All right. Well, with that, we are at lock. We're going to have to wait around and get anything about LeBron, get anything about Kristaps Porzingis, any other surprises. But again, we've got a full day of DFS content tomorrow. We've got NASCAR. We got day 4 of March Madness. We've got more March Madness tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. And you got final round of PGA golf. Definitely want to check that one out. So hit the like button on your way out of here. We never got to 600. You guys lost steam once you got to see the shirt. Maybe next time. With that, you can follow Matt LaMarca on Twitter at Matt LaMarca. I am at EMACDFS. And of course, it is Awesemo _COM. With that, gamers, good luck.